have reached a conclusion on the podcast.
Illegal!
Hello, everyone. We're going to hop right in here. This is Rob. Go ahead and take it over.
All right. Might as well jump into our first story here. Welcome. Thanks for coming back. If this is your second time, this is our third episode here, so we appreciate you coming back, and we'll jump right into the madness here.
Episode 3.
Trace.
Now, my first story here is going to be something I just announced the other day, and it's that Fortnite Mobile is coming out, and it's not just a mini version of it, but it's the full-fledged game on mobile.
No shit.
Yeah. So this was pretty exciting. The article here kind of goes into the details of how it is going to be at least so far they claim is going to be the absolutely full game here, and they have iOS. I think it started today, actually, if I'm not mistaken, where you can actually sign up for beta access and start playing it. And Android's going to be coming soon here, it says in the article. So, how do you guys feel about the full Fortnite coming to mobile?
My number one thing that immediately comes to mind that I'm excited for is not even, it's indirect from Fortnite. It's the fact that now we're going to see some really badass game controllers for Android and iOS coming out, because like once real games are there, people are going to want real controllers, which is not that analog screen bullshit. You know what I mean? You need a real controller to perform well. So I'm excited to see some new controllers.
I think the Xbox controller will be big.
Yeah,
Bluetooth, yeah.
Yeah, Bluetooth, or just the Type-C adapter.
True, for sure.
Be,
but to be able to hold,
one.
you know what I mean, an all-in-one.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Motorola's done with their Moto Mod. It makes it look like kind of like a PSP type setup.
Yeah.
That's really nice looking. I expect some more premium controllers on the market specifically for phones, I guess.
I think NVIDIA makes something like that, like where it's basically like a full-fledged controller and that like it just has that flip-up little like holder for your phone, and then you just go.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I have one. I've got one in my bag over wherever it's at, and it just
awful.
Doesn't get the job done.
It gets the job done. Don't get me wrong. If I'm playing like an emulator, a Game Boy emulator, Game Boy Advance, something like that, something more old school, it's not too bad.
But not Fortnite.
I just don't think it's gonna.
It's not gonna be the same.
It's not gonna be the same. I need precision controls for some Fortnites.
I just hope the frames per second like keeps up with like the console version and stuff, because like that's the best part. It just runs smooth.
For sure. Actually, with his Xbox One X, he was telling me the other day that he was getting 60 frames a second.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah,
crazy.
It looked so good.
Yeah.
It looked so good. And kind of with that being said, I haven't really been playing Fortnite. I've been keeping up with all the updates. I mean, I know they've been getting a ton of stuff, but between that and the full mobile version coming out, I'm starting to feel a little pull from the Fortnite side, trying to bring me over. Like, you can take this with you, take it everywhere you go, just play Fortnite all the time.
Do you know if you can use the same
cool
profile?
Stuff in there. I would imagine, because I know that you can set it like at the same, like if you play on PC or PlayStation, you can share the same account number. You just have to link your Epic Games account to whatever console you have.
That's pretty cool. If you
Should
can
share
share the same character,
Yeah,
same account,
same stats.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the other half of that cool statement you said in the beginning, was the crossplay factor.
Yep.
Just the Xbox, PC, mobile, everything working well together, and then PlayStation's just continuing to be an asshole. Don't get me wrong, I'm a PlayStation fan. PlayStation for life. PlayStation is home.
No.
Fuck you, PlayStation.
But fuck you, Sony.
No,
Come on.
Before you jump into the Sony side of things, it brings up an interesting point between PC and Xbox alone. Not even bringing in the mobile side of it, but even they say this game will run pretty much just as good, they're claiming, as it does on consoles, on any of your premium tier cell phones that are coming out these days. really how much you still would have to have an advantage on console over mobile, and then still an advantage over console on PC.
Yeah.
I mean, really, no matter which way you split that, when it comes to games like this, you'll always have that PC advantage. Assuming you got a better PC.
Why would you assume you're going to have that advantage?
There's just your standard stuff that you can have on PC that's going to make you have an advantage. You're going to have the monitors with a much more wide screen.
But what about bringing VR to the table into the mix of this? If it's going to be for mobile, how long until it's VR capable? And then all those barriers that you're going to be removed.
Maybe, it depends.
Yeah, I don't think just because Fortnite's not first person, so they would have to it can be done. First person can easily be implemented in Fortnite. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. It's probably gonna be coming in an update, but I think VR for Fortnite anyways will be a few months out.
Well, the way that the PlayStation 4 does it with the VR is if it's a game that doesn't support VR, you just have a gigantic screen in front of you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like watching Netflix.
Yeah.
If you guys ever done that on the VR. It's the same thing. You just got a gigantic screen. You can look everywhere. You got a wider angle screen than anything else.
What are the other disadvantages you'd say that exist between the different platforms that you would have other than screen size? If it can be solved through VR.
Your refresh rate. You're going to be capped out at a 60 frames per second in your best case scenario on a console. I'm guessing probably 30 on mobile, and then on PC, you're talking uncapped. You can do 120, 240. Yeah, exactly. So you're also going to have those advantages. The advantages of putting different shaders on stuff and making stuff like people stand out better in fields. That stuff's virtually undetectable as far as
anti-cheat stuff.
Yeah, and then of course, you got to bring that up as well. There will always be the ability to cheat on PC, and sure, they're always staying after it pretty good, but they're always finding new ways to cheat, build fast, shields.
Well, that's something you're never going to completely get around. That's impossible.
But the thing is that all right? It's one thing when you're playing on PC and you choose to be in that community, but if I'm playing on Xbox and I see some dude running at 400% speed across my screen, I'll be pretty upset.
I think it's...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I think it's completely okay, because what it's going to do is take the gamer community as a whole, 100% of gamers, mobile gamers, platform gamers, and PC gamers, right?
Right.
What is the smallest proponent of it? Do you know?
Enlighten us, right?
I would guess. I don't know, but I would guess it's probably PC gaming, just because there's not as necessarily as many games you can buy, and the platform is just a more home-friendly thing. I think most gamers are on platform. I would say probably percentage-wise.
I would probably disagree completely,
let's
just
look the
because
stats up real
there's
quick.
so many different games that you get on PC that will not be coming to console, just because of the openness of PCs in general.
Right.
So the gaming community, I think, on PC is way higher than both, honestly. Maybe
But
not way higher,
maybe you're
but
saying
higher than what you think.
In a Call of Duty scenario, you think more people play on console than PC, perhaps?
Yes, and I think Fortnite is probably going that way as well. If you took PlayStation, Xbox, and soon to be, once they jump on the fucking ball, Nintendo, and combine it all together versus PC.
And I guess it'd also have to depend if we're talking
because there's people that play all of them.
Yeah, or is the game out for all consoles? Or
Exactly,
is it an Xbox exclusive?
For sure. No, that's not. I guess the moral of the story, is the whole point I was trying to make is, if you're the new age of gaming, let's say you're playing on mobile, and you're playing versus this dude that's on PC that has this crazy shit running, and you see him doing this at your 30 frames per second, and it's bullshit, there's going to be more people out there to report things, so things are going to be caught more often. I think as long as development stays true to the community, the actual people using their product, it's going to promote more jobs and anti-cheat, and you're going to close the gap between cheating and not cheating, you know what I mean? And eventually it'll be a really nice thing, I think, if they all work together to help stop cheating. Not that you'll ever completely stop cheating, but I think if you have enough people working on it, and then you have strict enough we'll call it punishments for people that get caught, so that they're incentivized not to cheat. You know what I mean? So where it really sucks if you get caught.
How do you enforce that?
How do you enforce it?
Besides banning.
Well, banning, what else do you need?
They'll just make another
Like-
account.
Right.
That's
Even if you IP ban and you just get a new IP.
I don't know. That's
It's
where the
not easy, but if you're going to put in the effort to
No, and I'm not a
cheat,
computer
you're gonna-
scientist. I'm just
I
saying.
think it would
put in
be
the
better
effort
to
to get around
incentivize
it.
people for not cheating if they can somehow
Yeah,
find
yeah.
a way to not cheat. And like you had your account for 1 year, here's a couple bonus bucks in the game. Or you had your account for 2 years and no reported cases of cheating. Here's a couple thousand bonus bucks in the game.
Yeah, and
or
I think
something like
along
that.
the same line, if they actually just like the old West, if like you could post not necessarily bounties, but like people get rewarded for turning in cheaters. You know what I mean? You actually give them in-game rewards for turning in a cheater. I think there's nothing wrong with that because fuck cheaters. Fuck cheaters.
Yeah.
It's not fun for anyone else that's
I
trying
mean,
to
they
play
already
the game.
have the reporting on most games. You can already report most of that. I mean,
For sure, but nobody have you ever been like, hey, here's like 1,000 Xbox points, or here's $10 in the Microsoft
no, but
store?
incentivizing.
You know what I
people, yeah.
mean? Like that would definitely make things better for sure.
Couple things I want to add to this conversation before we actually get off the topic. Number one thing that's going to make mobile games inferior to any other kind of game at the moment anyways is going to be network speeds.
For sure.
You're going to have super latency. That's all going to change when 5G rolls around. They're already working on that, but that's a different segment somewhere else. But as far as the other option that I was going to talk about, I forgot what it was. Go ahead.
All right.
Cool.
I also wanted to bring up, that they have done some cross-play by accident. I think it was for the first month this was out.
By accident.
You could go completely cross-play between
You're
Xbox,
talking about Fortnite, right?
PlayStation.
That's
And
happened
then
multiple times.
I was
for
going to say
Fortnite.
they did it again not too long ago, where for a little while people were actually playing with each other, and I really think that's like they were just essentially just. I think they did it on purpose, just to be like,
Oh, yeah,
look,
probably.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You guys did it for 2 months and didn't even know. No one died. No one exploded, and things
Yeah.
are gonna be just fine.
Yeah, if you're listening or watching to this, sorry. If you're a gamer, you've been wanting to play with your PlayStation friends for the longest time since PS2
For sure.
and an original Xbox. I mean,
Brian bought an Xbox.
yeah,
just to play PUBG.
just to play with
Fuck
us,
these
because we're
It's
not
fair.
gonna buy PlayStations. So it's
It
such
made more sense.
it's so overdue. It needs to be done. PlayStation, come on.
Number
Yeah.
one thing, each console give me a setting somewhere in the settings of your console to turn it off.
Yep. I mean, that would be a must.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't
If
want
I can turn it off, I won't complain.
It's the same argument as the last episode where we talked about people getting offended by videos. Like if you don't like it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Just turn it off. Don't watch it. Same thing.
Cut the shit.
That was the other thing, by the way, was just talking about Fortnite should just give us the option to do only versus mobile, only versus Xbox, or only
Yeah.
versus.
I wouldn't
sure.
mind doing only versus mobile from my Xbox One.
Right.
That would be awesome.
I
Or
bet
my
you the PC
PC.
gamers feel the same way about you, though.
The game
Sure,
is
that's probably true.
really it's really pretty. It's running really good. I was seeing new weapons I'd never seen before. It still didn't grasp me quite like PUBG did, but it was getting my heart racing. I made it to I think top 10. But it just wasn't that PUBG. But I can feel it. I can feel it pulling me
Yeah.
back. They're doing all the right things, and PUBG just seems to be taking its sweet fucking time with everything. It just seems like every time I play it, I'm like, so how they still not fix this small issue that's been reoccurring since
Well,
day
they finally
Yeah.
fixed the boat sound, at least. The boat
Thank
doesn't sound
God.
like a fucking
Like there's
50
a
cal
sniper.
getting fired in the engine.
You're right. There's a sniper just sitting on your lap, just it's going off.
Where's he
That,
at?
Ryan would be that person if he could.
Yeah, no, we still have Ryan in our party, so it still sounds the same. But
No.
another thing I just want to bring up
Just making
to his
gunshot
thing here
sounds in my
earlier
mic.
about mobile gaming networks being inferior. I did just speed test my mobile LTE network, and we are in less than superior conditions, I'd say, from where we're recording right now.
for sure.
And I got 11.25 megabits per second. So it's
Upload,
download speed.
download. What was your? Does it tell you your ping?
It does, but I wasn't looking at that. Let me.
I mean, that's what I'd really be curious about
Sure.
is
Yeah,
because I know I've done some and got some
100.
impressive ping from
Yeah.
mobile. But that's not to say it's
Oh, yeah, it's
that's
getting
going to be
better,
solid the whole game. You might all of a sudden
My-
for 2
My
minutes
ping
spike
is
up
32
to.
milliseconds.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
That's
That's
fantastic.
basically what I get on my Xbox One S on a
If
regular.
you're lucky.
30 to
Um,
80.
Go ahead.
Before we wrap on the Fortnite mobile and cross-play scenario, I did want to touch on the PlayStation 4 thing. The reason they, at least from what I've read, the reason why they say that they will not be doing it, and first there was this huge thing like a day ago where it was just like, it's happening. It's official. Both sides, they shook hands. PS4, Xbox, and then like 3 hours later, it was like, update. PlayStation 4 is still not doing it. So their, from what I read, their official thing was like,
That's what I'm talking about.
we don't want to
Fuck you, PlayStation.
essentially allow people onto our network if we don't have to, allowing backdoors. Their thing was security. They had been hacked that one time, and PlayStation Network went down for a very long time.
It was like a whole summer.
Nobody really wants to
I know
give
it went down,
access to PC players.
Yeah, and I know it recently went down not too long ago, so that was their initial reasoning, but I wonder if it's really... Because eventually, the statistics would come out for just about every game. Who wins more, Xbox players or PlayStation 4 players? And I feel like PlayStation thinks that, like, we don't want to be on the wrong side of that graph. Like, we've tested it. We see that it's a little more difficult on our end to win matches for whatever reason, and that's that. I think that's more along the...
Is there any fact in that statement?
No, there isn't. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like their reason...
It was very convincing.
Their reason was like the security, but I think it's more along the lines of like, they know eventually stats will come out where, like, usually when you compare like a Call of Duty game, for the most part, not all the time, definitely not all the time, but for the most part, it'll run a little bit smoother on an Xbox. Whether it's locked in at 30 or a 60, or even compared to PlayStation 4 Pro, Digital Foundry's always doing comparison, and very rarely is the PlayStation 4 or Pro very rarely coming out on top. It happens, but I think that would eventually catch up to them, and people would be like, oh, you know what? I've seen that 64% of people that play on Xbox One like win more than PlayStation 4, and I think I'm going to scoop up one of those.
Well, at the end of the day, though, let's just say those statistics come out, which they would, right?
For sure. I mean, whether they were official or
isn't that
unofficial.
Actually good data for Sony to be like, okay, how can we improve our PlayStation? And then they stop the Xbox,
don't want it public.
And then I know, but people already know this shit. Just like Apple with their recent, like, everybody was like, I'm pretty sure all these cell phone companies just like degrade their shit over time just so you have to. And then someone fucking busted them, and they're like, oh yeah, you busted me. Here's a little fucking change, $29 battery replacement. But that's always going to exist. But I think bottom line, here's another funny thought I just had a little bit ago. What if all of the gaming community, if like every time they bought a game, they just invested 50% of the amount of money that they invested in a game in stock for that particular platform, right? And then eventually, like 5 years from now, all the gamers are gonna own all the gaming companies, and then we'll just be able to get what the fuck we want. We don't even have to, like. You guys want crossplay? Yep.
Doritos
Motion pass. Next fucking meeting.
A lot of Doritos sponsored games. So we'll wrap up on this. We'll go around cross platform. You for it or against it? All around, like PlayStation, PC, Xbox. For it?
For it, for sure. It's a long time coming. It's so surprising that PC came before it.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
It
also makes sense.
Yeah,
virtually the same thing at this point, Xbox and a PC.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm for it.
Right?
I'm for it, for sure. I just, it's 2018. So let's fucking do this shit. I mean, I believe in open source, almost everything, so it's
time, right?
Let's do it. Come on.
Make it happen.
It's all about fun at the end of the day anyway, so let everybody have fun with everyone that they choose to have fun with.
Agreed.
As long as I have the ability to choose to play with only my own console, I'm down.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. As long as we have the option to turn it on, turn it off, just like Rocket League, you can turn off network play with PC players, because that's definitely one where you think wouldn't make a huge difference, but still, like, you notice when you're playing with PC players.
You got a $20,000 PC, you can do some shit.
Yeah, you got a 180-degree screen where you can see pretty much the entire field, and it's running at 260 frames per second. Just golden butter. I mean, you got some advantages there.
Moral of the story is we should all just get PCs.
No.
I mean, eventually, that's why I was
controller on it.
I was saying that thing you said earlier about there not being as many PC players as we could definitely look it up. I don't think we will, but we could. But I feel like it's growing and growing and growing.
Maybe you
People are
folks
just
will get
more-
lucky and we'll put a link to the stats.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe you folks.
Maybe.
All right. Well, that'll bring us to our next topic, which will be from Ryan. What do we got?
All right, mine's completely different topic. Mine's just talking about censorship. I mean, it kind of can touch on video games because obviously a lot of games have ratings, and like the rating system did that loot box thing recently, so it kind of ties into that a little bit. But mine's more focused on film in general. I have a little graph here that Brian just brought up for us to look at. This is just kind of the history of the censorship that is in films. It started way back in the 1890s, back when like basically pictures started, and it's been named many different things. It's been called the MPPDA before it was the MPPA, and then there was the Hays Code, bunch of stuff. Super racist movie, The Birth of a Nation, 1915, basically set the tone for like, hey, we should probably regulate this. If you ever even just catch clips of this movie, it's a silent movie, and I watched it in my film class. It's awful. It's the most racist thing.
Okay, that's what you meant by awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super racist. I mean, it was back in the 1915 time era, so it wasn't.
See there, that is a horse in a full, looks like KKK get up there.
Yeah, so basically,
Ouch.
obviously, slaves were just furniture, and women were as well, and they realized they needed to regulate this. Long story short, we've came a long way for censorship for film. Star Trek pushing the interracial kiss thing in the 60s. The 50s, you've seen a lot of people just basically telling the MPAA, go fuck yourself. And
Fuck you, MPAA.
like they wouldn't get their movies approved in the 60s, like nudity in the 50s. I mean, if you know how the 50s were, like Housewife and all.
Tell me, Ryan. I wasn't around. Tell me how the 50s were.
Tell me how they told you.
You
it
all
was.
know
Yeah,
how the
right.
50s were. You were there.
Right? Yeah, we were all.
Um,
But yeah, super conservative.
According to this graph, they were super conservative.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, basically they just told them to go fuck themselves, and then they started releasing movies without any rating approval, and then like they realized that they can't regulate every movie because the art form's getting a hold of the American public, so they decided to just come up with the G. It was called GA R, and then it was X, and then it's got changed so much. Obviously now it's G, PG,
NC-17.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be NC-17. It was X, and then the porn industry obviously did XXX, and then it changed to NC-17, but I'm not going to bore you with all those details. Basically, the only reason I brought it up is I thought it was interesting to see how our censorship is towards violence and nudity in America versus kind of like how Europe handles it, and like obviously France is super lenient on nudity, but a lot more
See
strict.
it in like a Sprite commercial.
Yeah.
Titty pop out.
Yeah, like that, or you like just see billboards of like popular like soccer players or football players with like their dick hanging out, and they're like, Sprite, drink it.
I really don't know. I see both sides of the situation there, just because it's natural. Who gives a shit, really?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like it depends on what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? If you're just showing like, hey, it's natural, who gives a fuck? Great. If you're trying to be sexually provocative, I say,
Yeah, like
we
it's-
got enough of that, probably. You know?
Yeah, it
But-
definitely needs regulation for sure.
Yeah.
I just think, what is your guys' opinion on just America totally okay with like, oh, we're gonna make this movie PG-13 and we're just gonna like not show gore, but we'll shoot up a whole bus of like bad people.
And they can say fuck like one time.
Yeah, like fuck.
But like,
And then,
that's
like,
fine.
Don't you spend
Yeah.
it
Don't
more
say
than
it
once in this
twice.
movie?
Don't show a nipple, or don't like man dick is never allowed.
Yeah.
Like,
You can show a head getting lopped off.
yeah, like it's now like
Can you show the head getting lopped up, or you have to show like a silhouette?
I
of
think
the
silhouette.
it's usually the knife coming up to, or like the
Then the
katana
cutaway.
cut away, and then you see the head roll,
Yeah.
or you see it like just a thud
hear it
sound.
roll,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So it cuts away. So
It's also, I believe, why in a lot of alien movies you see green blood, because
yeah, exactly.
they're super popular in PG-13 because they can show the blood.
Yeah,
Not blood.
PG movies, super interesting. PG movies, like the reason they did PG-13 was like movies like Indiana Jones, Gremlins 2, and I think there was another one, and like those were just, there was gore and stuff, and like some of that, like obviously that guy's face melts off in the one Indiana Jones movie, and they're like, we should probably make it parental guardian. So at least there's your dad sitting next to you while you both watch his face melt off, which apparently makes it better.
Right. Well, I think that's a perfect segue for, I guess, my next comment is, regardless of the rating structure,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really up to, it should be up to parents on what their kid views. You know what I mean? The rating structure is a good idea, I guess, to tell you what this movie could possibly contain, but at the end of the day, parents should be parents and parent their fucking kids, and that should be, you know, the basis of it. Yeah, that's it. And I don't really need to be more complicated than that.
For the record, neither one of us have kids.
That's true.
No.
That's true. But I had great parents.
But be better parents.
No.
Piss somebody off there.
Yeah.
I had a kid once.
Once, and then they were gone.
Me and Eric Clapton both had a kid once.
Oh God.
What do you guys think of the current state of censorship in radio or just movies, video games, the internet? We mentioned YouTube. Obviously, people getting demonetized because of them saying fuck. Like, we will never get monetized because of that, because I'm pretty sure
really,
we should have a fuck counter.
That really does happen?
Yes.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
a real
If you
deal.
say even like...
I don't think it's fuck,
Oh yeah,
but
we are never getting paid
Well,
off YouTube.
I have heard that before. I've heard a couple
It's
people say like, "Oh, you said
suggestive
it."
stuff. Like, you could barely say anything, and the algorithm picks it up, and they're like, nope, see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't think you should
Fuck 'em.
trust an algorithm to that, but
Fuck
then
'em.
again, you can't have like 5 guys watch every YouTube video on YouTube, which would never happen.
But what's the point though?
I-
What is the point of that? What does that do?
Saves them some money.
yeah.
Some time.
What do you mean it saves them some money?
So instead of just being like, well, let's see, we pay out 40. I'm just pulling this number out of my fucking ass, but we pay $40 billion to our content creators every year.
Through the form
How
of
can
advertising,
we
right?
change that to 10 so we can keep that other revenue? Well, we could demonetize everyone that doesn't have 100,000 views, or anyone that said fuck, or anyone who's really breathed or mentioned anything on our channel.
But wouldn't there people who are supplying them with the money, the advertisers, be upset that their videos are being shown, that their advertisements are being shown on less channels that get frequently watched?
Nope.
No, they want to keep, like, they want to protect their image of, like, Tide. That's the reason, like, why it gets demonetized, because Tide doesn't want to be in front of PewDiePie that mentioned Nazis, supposedly, or I don't really know.
I mean,
full
really,
details
they
of that.
really don't care, but they just don't want.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because if
That
you look
public.
look at the garbage that's on fucking network television, anybody will
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
throw an
yeah.
ad up on that fucking
Right, it's like
bullshit.
you're gonna be okay with advertising on like Law and Order SVU, where it's just like constant raping of children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
just
like,
bullshit.
no, we don't want to. This guy said fuck one time. Fuck
Can't
all
do
that.
Yeah, I think the weirdest instance of that was even like Casey Neistat. He was only demonetized for like a day or two, but he was like, he made a video just because I think it was the school shooting that happened in Orlando, and like he was like, oh, let's start a charity for that, and he's just like, I got a good public outreach. This is that video for that. Links in the description. That was pretty much that video, and then it got demonetized because of that. And like he was just so irate from it, and
What
then like
did
he
it
reached
get demonetized for?
it just because he was like promoting like
had
the
political
donation.
content.
I think political
Oh.
content, and then
any sort of
also
political content. I
the
follow
violence. Yeah.
like a ton of news shows on YouTube, and they've been like changing their titles and putting in like different characters other than U.S. English characters, changing them in their
Right.
titles and shit, and doing things like that throughout their video to
Yeah.
help them curb the algorithm.
That nonsense.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think another reason he said it was just because they would be profiting from like a tragedy, is like how YouTube's seen it. So that's
He was taking donations.
exactly. Yeah, like that's why he was like, why is that a thing?
Well, like if that's profiting from tragedy, then there shouldn't be a single fucking news.
Oh yeah,
That's
easily.
what I was
Yeah,
about
good
to
point.
say.
Yeah. So kind of veered off to YouTube again, but to
Fuck
bring it back
you,
to
YouTube.
censorship, just to close out the censorship thing. Wow, I can't speak. Back in the day, in the 70s, when George Carlin was really popular, there was a big Supreme Court case that made it basically, I think it was illegal to air something that was derogatory during like 2 p.m. time. Like you had to wait until after 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. where children were asleep to air something like George Carlin's 7 Dirty Words, because apparently some father was driving his daughter to school at like 2 p.m. or picking her up. Yeah, it'd be weird driving her to school at 2 p.m. But bringing her home, and like the 7 Dirty Words played over the radio, and if you don't know what they are shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
Yeah. And
basically he said that over the radio, and obviously she heard that, and then he ended up trying to sue, and basically won, to my knowledge, and that was a landmark case in the Supreme Court, and that basically made it.
Wait, was that? Do you have that?
Do not. I think it was, I'm just going to say in the 60s. I don't want to stay on my phone for too long.
So this is, I guess, another point to bring up. People have been pussies for a long time. It's not
I
just
agree.
a modern thing.
Like if I was a judge and they're like, what's... Yeah. I got a busy day. What's this bullshit about? And they're like, well, this little girl heard a couple swear words. I'd be like, all right, you guys are awarded $10,000. Go ahead in that room right there and pick it up. And that room's just like really just a garbage disposal.
And then it closes in on them.
Yeah, and they're
this
just,
is what you get for
just
wasting
like,
our time.
next.
Yeah.
All right. Did my...
Yeah.
What would you guys think the current state of the political
I believe it, too.
spectrum? How, going off of what you said, people are still pussies, and like even to this day, like there's
so much worse today. Yeah.
Like political
Is it
correctness.
worse, or are there just more people with more cameras that can give their opinion on it?
That's what I think.
Well,
I think it's that, but I also think it's just the left and the right getting their own crazy fucking ideas, and like young kids that are like getting out of high school and like, man, I really want to fit into this crowd, and then like they just start absorbing all this stuff, and then they go to college with those same people, and we have Facebook with their friends, and they're like bubbled into that same fucking like bubble of people, so that's their mindset, and like they just run with that kind of shit. But I think also to go along with that,
It's probably a lot bigger field of conversation than what we're going to have time for today.
exactly, yeah.
But
What is 7 words that you would say are the 7 dirty words nowadays?
Oh, I'm not going to repeat those.
yeah, I'm not going to say those on
Just
this
because
podcast.
I don't like to.
Yeah.
What was it?
What would be the 7 dirty words for nowadays?
Moist.
Moist one of them?
Moist.
Moist. For sure,
Number
moist.
one word is moist.
You ever want to like make
So
the
moist
room
is one.
uncomfortable? Say the word moist or twat.
You got at
Cunt.
least, yeah. That's a good 40%.
Yeah, those are 3 of them for sure.
I was gonna say someone was talking about it recently, but it was like why are people just find anything? There was like a news article about how the air conditioner was sexist because women are more prone to cold, and usually men have access to the thermostat, and women aren't allowed to touch them. And one of the kind of the ongoing theories was just like, we used to have so much shit to do throughout the day, where just like you had to get that shit done, and the rest of your day you were resting because of that shit you were doing.
Yeah.
Now just like everything's so easy for everyone, everyone just sitting there with like fucking time to kill.
And you have
just
those
like you got
phones
nothing.
that they can just spill their opinions.
I think at least from our generation and backward, a lot of it, and this is just because I've went through this personally in my own life, is when you graduate high school and then you get out of college and you have this, at least I had it. It was a weird like thing. Like I feel like I know what the fuck is going on. And
everybody did.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't want to call it an entitlement, but it's almost like an entitlement where like you feel like you know what the fuck is going on. You feel like you should be able to achieve, you know, the same level of fucking success and happiness as all the shit you see on TV and commercials and fucking all the bullshit fucking snap fucking moments of happiness that people share on social media and stuff like that, where you're comparing that with your real life, and then you find out you're like, damn, you know, I'm gonna have to spend a couple of years making $20,000 a year, and that's not gonna be fun. And you know what I mean, you get real resentful and shit until you realize you're like, I'm not even providing any value. You know what I mean? You have to until you realize, I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing. I think that's a lot of it though. Is the reason why people are pussies is because they feel like they're entitled, I guess, to a reality that only exists in their head, which is fine, but it shouldn't be able to affect with anybody else's.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't
reality.
affect anybody else's life. Like, do what you want. Like, if you want to marry the Eiffel Tower, or if you want to, I don't know, things like that.
If you're not hurting anyone, I'm either here to help you or get out of your way.
Yeah, but I don't think you can legally mandate that I subscribe to that.
Nope.
Which is what a lot of people try to do.
Yeah. So I know it veered off a little bit from the censorship, but that's fine. So that's
what
all
we're here
I really,
for.
That's all I really got on that. So it's changed quite a bit. I'm not gonna do the 7 deadly or 7 dirty words. Keep on saying deadly.
There's some bad ones out there these days, but
we don't want to get totally
We're not gonna
taken
slather
down
it.
yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll
we
just say
won't slather it.
all 7
There's-
words are just moist. So
All
7
7 words are
words are
moist. I
moist.
like it.
so we'll leave it on that.
I mean,
Somebody should
a
say
lot
it
of the
7
couple of
times.
those still
I say
stand
right
true
now.
today,
Moist.
though, for sure.
Moist.
Yeah, there's still
Moist.
a couple on the lists of 7 that you still can't say and get
It's
away
like,
with.
I think
on-
fuck
That's
will
why we
always
didn't
be
say
one.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Oh, that's totally acceptable now.
Then this
Almost.
topic here will be provided by Raymond. Everybody loves him.
All right, guys. Let's see here.
Let's see what he did there.
We're gonna go ahead and talk about some.
The Bob Ross of topics.
It was a
Hold
really
it up.
really interesting going.
Everybody look at Rob. Continuity error.
I seen the video. I thought we were getting ready to call out that other illegal podcast. That's right. We seen that
We
video.
saw that bullshit.
Oh yeah, you better
Calling you
take.
out.
Yeah, no, that's us.
And we're back.
I mean, I don't want to create any bad blood, but you guys should stop now,
Give up.
Just
or
give
it's
up.
too
gonna
good.
get bad.
I think the reason that you said the one kid that does those food reviews looks weird is because you look exactly like him without your glasses.
Food review. I watched his.
Insert picture right here.
Yeah,
Don't they
we'll do
look
a
the
side
same?
by side.
All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. I have 2. All of it's about free energy or tapping into another or limitless or whatever have you energy source of some sort. Alternative energy, if you will. Obviously, I'm in the solar industry, like I said last time, and I'm really into this stuff on a more deeper level too.
Sure.
So, do you guys want to talk about Nikola Tesla and his accomplishments, or would you guys rather talk about Stan Meyer's water car first?
Tesla.
Tesla? Cool.
Okay.
I might be making this up, but I might not be making this up. Einstein once said something along the lines of, well, a reporter asked him a question and said, what's it feel like to be the smartest man in the world? He once said, I don't know, you should ask Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, I've read that too. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've read that a few times.
I'm pretty sure he just stole his shit. And I was like, hey, maybe.
Well,
That's classic Einstein. He worked at the patent office, stealing all that shit.
Einstein.
Mine.
So, let's talk about Tesla. So, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of the name Tesla today. We have a car company now with Elon Musk calling it Tesla.
Really?
Damn! So his name is finally coming out, after 100 years.
That's all.
And he's finally starting to get the credit where credit is due. I know when I was in school, learning about science, electricity, and even watching things back in the day like Ride the Magic School Bus or Bill Nye the Science Guy, things like that. Back when I was a kid, I never heard about Nikola Tesla. I was, it just was never brought up. It wasn't until I was probably late high school and I found about it on the internet. So Nikola Tesla is directly or indirectly responsible for basically everything that runs our daily lives, right? Our AC electricity that we use in our homes, that we charge our electronics with, the wireless charging technologies that are coming out today. He's responsible for the radio, partially for the internet, all the shit that we use, satellite technology, everything, along with Marconi and a bunch of other guys. But Nikola Tesla really was a founding father in the movement of all this technology.
And what was the reason that we didn't use, we went with the Thomas Edison light bulb rather than the Nikola Tesla, whatever he had? Because I remember it was just
I don't think Tesla
everything about it was better, but there was a particular reason, not a good one.
Well, the light bulb
they
isn't.
went with Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison may have invented the incandescent light bulb. That's great, but the energy that powered the light bulb, where Edison was wanting DC energy to be the energy platform of the nation, where Tesla wanted the AC
that's right.
energy. And so what happened actually Tesla used to, when he came over here, I can't remember where he came. I think it was Austria. I can't remember, go look that up if you guys want at home. When he moved over here, he actually worked with Tesla. He worked with Thomas Edison. He worked for Thomas Edison. And so they had a relationship beforehand, but basically it was very quickly proven through Nikola Tesla's inventions that his shit was better. Essentially his AC energy worked a lot better, and the DC energy was just not. And so then what Thomas Edison ended up doing was going around the United States doing experiments and using AC energy to electrocute shit. So you can find on the internet, you've seen the famous picture of him electrocuting the elephant. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Yeah, I've seen that.
This dude, this heartless son of a fucking
Super
bitch.
fucked up.
Dude, could you, an elephant, let's take one of the most intelligent animals in the world. We're just going to electrocute it. Basically electric
And you
chair
do it in front of people.
Yeah, to prove that his shit was dangerous. So what Tesla did in response was,
I'd do it.
he just...
You probably would.
You would. Murder on Mars.
Death ray.
Hashtag murder on Mars.
You would hashtag Bruno Mars.
No, hashtag murdered on Mars.
Go ahead, said Bruno Mars. Anyways, what did he do?
So Tesla did another experiment in direct response to it. Where it was something like 120,000 volts that he sent through his body, and he was all good. Everything was good.
Yeah.
And it's this is the danger of the AC system. Kind of that. Obviously, that won out. That's what we use all over the world today.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that this technology, this wireless transmission of technology, which was developed almost 100 years ago, is at its very infancy in production for our modern life. There's wireless chargers for cars, there's wireless chargers for cell phones, but they're not really wireless. The charger still has to plug in, directly somehow. So it's amazing in 100 years somehow, in some ways, how far we've come. And then you look at something like this with electrical energy and
how not far we've come.
Yeah, it's silly. Yeah. It's absolutely silly.
That's his interesting thing here. It says it's something I just learned just now, is he was actually completely financed by J.P. Morgan Chase.
Not the entire project. That was just Wardenclyffe Tower. Wardenclyffe Tower itself was financed by J.P. Morgan Chase.
This is a photo of Wardenclyffe Tower.
Yep. That's what it looks like. Wardenclyffe Tower.
$150,000 right there.
Oh, probably a little bit more than that.
Now, what did that do?
So, the reason why it was
looks like
actually...
a gigantic dick.
Can you share that?
It's very phallic.
It should be
extremely phallic in nature.
Was that the PDF that I couldn't open?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It was the bottom link on Ray's little thing.
Oh, okay. And I also see here that
these are actually
they
links
didn't get along. Like they really
flaccid.
didn't like each other.
No, because if you go back and look at what it seems to be, obviously I don't really know because I wasn't there. It's been 100 years, but what it seems to be is J.P. Morgan's sole interest in this technology was wireless transmission of basically radio. He wanted to be able to send advertisements across the world.
Overseas.
Yes, overseas. Well, not even just overseas, across the world, because they've had, at this point, the first telegraph had already been launched across the Atlantic Ocean, so they could already go across the sea. He wanted to be able to go all the way around the world, the transmission. And so him and Tesla got together. Tesla was going to do that for him, but he was like, look, dude, this isn't even about radio. This is about electricity. And then what it came down to, not that J.P. Morgan wasn't amazed by the technology, was two things. One, he asked him for a radio, and he didn't give him a radio. And the second thing was that when he was like, so where do you put a meter on it? And he was like, what? There's no way to charge per kilowatt, hour, which is how you charge for electricity. Yeah. There's no way to do that. And so when he realized that there was going to be a limitless free flow of electricity and that there was going to be no, charge for per amount used, he was like, no, fuck that, and shut it down. So we could have had,
what you do, big corporations.
Well, it's just
is you create the device and you make them each single person put that device inside their homes for the limitless or the unlimited power, and then you regulate that. You store that energy somewhere. And
but unless that device fails every 2 years and you need to buy a new one, the profit motive's not there, which is unfortunate. That's how the society that we run on
Well, the
works.
profit motive for the equipment's not there, just like Charter or Comcast or Xfinity or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call them.
but there's no power lines no more. There's no upkeep. How do you build these people?
You build them for the amount that they use. I mean, we don't
How
pay
do
too
you-
much for our modem that we get from them.
Right, but you build
just because you have this thing in your.
The modem works like this though. When you have Xfinity or Comcast, or sorry, Xfinity or Charter or whatever, typically the way it works is you pay X amount of dollars and you just use it. Whether you use 10 gigabytes a month or 1,000 gigabytes a month, with the exception of over 1,000 gigabytes a month, because then you got to pay extra, but you still have unlimited.
To give people packages, bundles.
Packages of electricity. I like it.
That's
I think
fucking
that's actually
awful.
I don't think it's a bad idea, because then the people who are very efficient and don't use a lot can save a lot of money, and then the people who use more should be able to pay for more. But at the bottom line, there's no way to meter this because it's limitless energy. And then if it's limitless energy that's drawn from the atmosphere, what gives the company who's manufacturing these devices a right to that energy? Because they aren't creating the energy, they're just creating the product that harnesses the energy. So the energy is not theirs. Therefore, they shouldn't be able to have a legal claim on said energy.
Well, they don't, I think, have the legal claim on said energy. I think they have the legal claim on the machine using that energy. If you want to create your own machine or buy somebody else's that is free, you're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to get something that's backed with a warranty and backed with the service agent that can come and help you fix it if something goes wrong, then you pay a premium.
Sure.
It's
I like
got to
that.
be a guarantee on the box.
Guarantee on the box.
Another interesting note here I was seeing is says Tesla once paid an overdue hotel bill with a model of his death beam. And what's funny about this, I'll just run through this real quick. It says something about the Wardenclyffe Tower eventually turned over to the owners of the Waldorf Astoria in partial payments for Tesla's debts. Decades later, the managers of the Governor Clinton Hotel were given a similar piece of Tesla collateral. A wooden case, the inventor said, contained a working model of his potentially war-ending particle weapon. Tesla's death beam would be able to stop any invading army, thus making warfare pointless. When he turned over the box containing the model, Tesla warned the hotel employees that they must never open it. They fearfully complied, hiding the box in a storeroom. After his death in 1943, the box was pried open and found nothing but harmless old electrical components.
So somebody opened that box, is what you're saying.
Either that or Tesla. It sounds to me like more like Tesla had a couple chips in a box and was just like, "Don't ever open this," but like
Why would you
it's worth
give a death
$100K.
rate?
Yeah.
All right. This
No.
is non-specialized people that are working at a hotel. It's kind of like the equivalent of being like, hey, here's a $500 million, and walking down to like your local preschool and just handing it to one of the kids and be like, invest this wisely. You don't hand a death rate to just some dude that works at a hotel. You just don't. That's silly.
No, you don't. But
Maybe he lived at that hotel for quite some time and
He
made
did.
a rapport with somebody.
He did
So
for
if
sure.
he did live at that hotel for quite some time and he knew everybody there,
You still don't give him a death ray.
unless you owe him some money. No. Unlike Tesla, I actually brought a death ray. I have it right here. Check it out. Oh, I don't think you can even see that in camera.
No, you can put it on the table though, like right
Yeah.
here.
You put it on the table without destroying the table.
Yeah, without burning a hole in his
I
freaking.
just cut a hole in the ceiling of this place we're in.
Can I press
yeah, I'm
this
super
button?
mad.
Yeah. Just keep it moving. Don't let it concentrate too long
is what it
in
is.
a single spot. It will. It is a death ray, after all. But yeah, Tesla, step your shit up. Quit being a little bitch.
Oh, damn! Fucking got him, you did.
What if
Oh,
Elon Musk
man.
just started recreating this tower? Like, just tomorrow, he's just like, I'm gonna recreate
Well,
this
he-
tower
he
and then just
did.
do limitless energy.
He did start recreating a couple things, didn't he?
I don't know anything about that, but I can just comment real here on the
Like the light bulbs
construction
in
of
the
the
ground.
tower is very, very similar in the idea of it, I guess. I'm not gonna say the shape. The shape is somewhat similar. It's triangular-ish shaped. But if you go look at
It's a penis.
the pyramids in Egypt, and they also had obelisks, which were a lot more shaped like this, which
Yeah.
very well may have been part of the system at one point in time.
Yeah.
But they're both built over natural aquifers. So if you go look at one of these articles I posted, I can't remember how many feet exactly
Well, what's
tower
interesting
was
about
actually 120 feet below the ground, built 120 feet into the ground, so essentially 12 stories underground. This thing went, and it was built over natural aquifers. Okay, on bedrock. If you go look at the in Giza in Egypt and look at the Great Pyramid, you have the same exact idea there. It's just made out of stone instead of metal. You know, it's just the material of their time. And I have a hunch that it was probably a very similar idea. You know, with the obelisks everywhere and pyramids all over the world, why not have wireless energy if it's out there just to grab and it's accessible to all of us right now? You know, why not?
I think they just figured out the pyramid just ended up being a pile of dirty bricks.
Yeah, that's what
They figured it out. Go back to sleep, everybody.
Fucking stinks. Just a bunch of garbage.
It is now. Fucking Egyptian government.
I mean, it's interesting. I feel like, you know, if there was something that could be tapped in, we'd probably find it by now, or either that it's just been
buried,
suppressed to the point of where it's just like...
Well, I mean,
Don't
look at
let
what he
anyone
accomplished
know.
100 years ago. He was able to light up 250 light bulbs within a few miles radius without any wires. And we still can't do that today, and that was 100 years ago.
I wonder what the downside of that would be, right? I mean, there's got to be some kind of
JP Morgan makes less money.
downside to...
limitless energy. That's free.
Well, no, not downside to the limitless energy is free, but like a downside to being able to transmit electricity in such a way to where you could screw in a light bulb to the ground and it fucking turns on.
I'm just gonna dig in the sand.
Well, he ran it through his body without any...
Well, he was
Zero
clearly a trickster.
And he lived to be 80-something years old. So it's not like this harmed him to the level where it, like, gave him a fairly short life or anything.
Wouldn't you think, if he was really onto something, that somebody would have killed him before he made it to 80 years old?
Maybe, but if he didn't have the funding, and back then it's not like he had a YouTube channel, he could just post shit. You know what I mean? You had to actually get somebody to put something in the paper for you. All they got to do is tell them not to do that and give them some cash never to do that. Actually, I've heard that a lot of the people who were financing him early in his days, actually, like, he paid for him to live in the hotel basically for the rest, you know, of his life, just because, you know, they basically felt bad for him that they had screwed him over. You know what I mean? Like,
here, man.
He's out just handing out fucking death rays to fucking randos.
One of the most brilliant minds, you know, humanity has ever had died, you know, alone in a hotel room where his daily activity was at the end just like feeding pigeons and shit. Like, that's just
Maybe
it's sad. I don't know.
or he could have been a huge trickster piece of shit.
I don't.
Sounds like a little more accurate to me.
Oh my God! Blasphemy! Blasphemy!
These goddamn assholes.
I don't have any
Both of
strong
them.
opinions.
I mean, if that was an option, I mean, obviously free energy. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Sure.
But you know, we've gotten to the point of where
Besides
I mean,
the
I
power
would
companies.
at least like to see another option for it. I mean, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be like free unlimited for everyone, but at least another option. Because I don't know where everyone else lives at, but where we live at, there's only one option you get. You don't have a competitor. There's nothing. If you're like, oh, I don't like their service or their prices, you can't choose another one. You're just stuck.
No,
either having electricity or not.
Imagine how cool it would be if right now, just how you can have different wireless networks that you can choose from for LTE, if you could choose wireless power networks.
Yeah.
Be nice.
How cool would that
Wireless power.
be? Huh.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, it would be cool.
I mean, also those things that are going to be delivering us power, let's be honest, are also probably the very same death rays they probably had.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Might not be so cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. There's not a whole lot of. There's just no like free. Are there any free services products that are just like?
Well, even stuff that used to be free is not free anymore. Things that should be inherently, I hate to use the word, but God-given rights. You know what I mean? Things like air, water.
What's wrong with the word given?
But like all these things that should be free for all of,
Or,
not just humanity, everything. You know,
or at least drinkable Flint.
Right. That's insane. And you're making them pay for that shit. That's fucking ridiculous.
Like 4 times the amount they should be paying.
And if you're
For
listening
poison.
to this
Yeah, it's the most
outside of
expensive
Michigan,
water.
it's still an issue. It's not fixed.
Yeah, that's not fixed. No. So that kind of shit is ridiculous. You know, in China, people are buying canned air from the Rocky Mountains and stuff just so they can have fresh air. Are you fucking kidding me?
All the smog.
This is the Lorax come true, people.
Spaceballs.
This is insane.
Idiocracy.
You know, I guarantee if you would have asked your, let's
Bambi.
just go back 3 generations. If you could have asked your great grand, I guess that's a couple more, but let's just say your great grandfather or grandmother, do you think you'll ever have to pay for water? They would laugh at you probably, just out loud, like you're so silly.
They'd be like, "How are you talking to me?"
I remember when they
They'd be
started
like,
selling
that's
water.
a good idea.
I remember they started selling like Dasani and Aquafina, like Coke and Pepsi started selling water. People lost their fucking minds. They're like, what do you think, I'm dumb?
Right.
And now it's like their number 1 fucking product
Yeah.
is water. Sodium-filled water. Enhanced with minerals for flavor.
Amazing.
And they're just in the back of their warehouse. Just
Amazing.
Yeah, and then someone got burned. One of the big ones got burned because they had all kinds of silly shit on their label, and it ended up just being New York tap water that they were selling for
All sorts of silly
years.
shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, just like it was purified and ran through the
Reverse osmosis.
Yeah, it ran through the hills of whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Bilbo Baggins'
Zephyr
foot
Hills.
touched this water.
How about Nestle just paying like $200 a year to get like as much water out of the Great Lakes as possible?
That should be criminal. And anybody
that's
watching our
worse.
podcast right now, I sincerely fucking... We need to do something about
Don't
this.
buy
This is
Nestle
true.
water.
No,
Don't
more
do
than
it.
that. More than that. Like, that is criminal. You're going to charge...
Yeah.
People are paying more than that per month in Flint to drink poison. And they
Right.
get all this shit for free and then get to make profit on top of that.
Sell it back,
While
right
all
back
of
to
our
those same
natural
people.
resources that
Exactly.
are not infinite are fucking being used
People
for profit.
living on the shores of the same lake, they're just sucking it out.
Yeah, that's really fucked up. I really wish we didn't have to talk about it at like this day in the game, but like
We don't.
we really
Next
don't.
topic.
But check it
Next
out, look
topic.
it up. We won't bore you with the details, but kids are still dying. They can't take showers.
Yeah.
There is not fresh water. There is this huge fucking the wife of the governor like runs pretty much Nestle, and there's this huge just terrible fucking ring of terrible savageness
Pure
going
evil.
Oh, yeah.
around.
Real evil exists, obviously.
And everybody
I'm
that speaks
convinced.
out about it just dies.
Yeah.
They die.
Fuck you, Nestle.
Car accidents.
Fuck
drug
you.
overdose, whatever it may be, they just end up missing. So
Right.
All right, well, you guys want to get back
real
to
positive stuff. Free energy, it's cool.
Free energy is cool. Let's get back to the free energy stuff. I have a feeling it's probably going to become just as dismal as the last little bit of free energy stuff. But I want to take you guys a little bit further in history. From 100 years back, we're going to move up a little bit. We're going to go back to the late 1980s, early 1990s. There's a guy named Stanley Meyer. If you guys look him up, there's lots of information available for him. I was actually on the U.S. Patent Office page earlier today on the website, and I was able to download the actual patent information for his technologies.
Today.
So this guy developed a water-powered car. So you literally, all it needed to run was water. You didn't have to pay a gasoline company. You just had to wait for it to rain. And
You can buy it from Nestle.
you buy it from fucking Nestle. But the water-powered car was a really cool invention. I think the patent, he got the patent back in 1989. And was, he died 1998, I want to say.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Good old Stanley
water
Meyer,
car murder
1998.
research.
I don't know who he is. I don't even have my phone on, but sounds about right. Is he related to
So
Mike
what's
Myers?
the point here, Ray?
So basically the point is this guy had a technology that allowed him to fuel his car with water, and it had a machine, an electrical machine in the back that basically produced hydrogen fuel gas on demand instead of having to have fuel cells. So you could just dump in water, and it would use an electrolysis process to
And it would
create.
also mean that there's not a bomb sitting there.
Right, where right now if you have fuel cells sitting in a car and you
Right.
get in a car accident, it's not a good story. So for him, there was just a water. There was no gas tank. It was just a water tank, and you just wait for it was on demand power. So not necessarily free energy, but a much cheaper form of energy than what we have available today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and just play.
Can we go to the video?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I'm gonna play you guys the clip.
No.
Check this out. What? Because this YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated.
I'm telling you, that's what I've been getting all fucking day.
Oh my god! I literally just
all day.
Looked this shit up like.
I
Not
clicked on
today.
that earlier.
Welcome
Put
to the
one
illegal
video on your YouTube, and now you're fucking with us.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Illegal Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
No, okay. Well, here's. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
the more efficient car has been done over and over and over again, from runs on water, runs on recycled vegetable oil, runs on grass trimmings,
Or fecal matter.
runs on anything. You pretty much make that runs on anything. But I think the issue you run to in any of those is, sure, you can have a car that runs on water, but by the time it's in mass production, you need a special water from that company that, like, you can't just fill it up in your sink.
Well, that's why he never sold out. So the problem was he ended up going to dinner one night, and I believe the year was 1998. You can look that shit up, guys. It's all over the internet, except for the video that was just deleted. Look that shit up. He went out to dinner with some people from, I want to say, Belgium. Some Belgian investors. And then the story is he ran out of the restaurant saying they poisoned me and fell over dead.
That's
And
right.
That's it. So he never sold out. The patent, if you look in the patent office, is 1989. So almost 10 years later, he dies. So he spent almost a solid 10 years trying to get this technology out there to the people. Again, I mean, this is something that's happened in all of our lifetimes. This is,
Yeah, it's crazy.
you know what I mean? Like, did any of you hear about this guy before tonight?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, vaguely. Like I said,
I would say too.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the story of the story's been told 100 times about the guy who made the car that runs on oxygen or water, or the guy who made the bread that had all the required nutrition that you needed for a day and was giving it to homeless people, and he was murdered. Like, that shit happens all the fucking time when people come up with really good ideas that help everyone for little to zero cost, and you just end up
You know what
not
that sounds like
existing
to me?
anymore.
The guy, the creator of 5 Hour Energy needs to watch out.
Yeah, and I check about every 3 to 5 months if he's still alive, because I'm just like, that guy can't be alive still anymore.
No.
He's a big purveyor of free energy and clean water. Ironically, as we're talking about these two things, those are two of his main 4 focuses that he tries to get done.
What's his name?
God, what was his name?
Bergava.
Tim.
Tim. $15.
Colorado Springs happens to be one of the same places where Nikola Tesla had a facility. Coincidence?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Minaj
Okay.
A trois.
Bhargava is the guy's name.
Manoj
Bhargava.
Bhargava. That's
Starting
what it
back
was.
up.
Bhargava.
Manoj
Nicki
Bhargava.
Minaj?
But just like it's kind of like we have cars that run on oil because we can pull oil out of the ground and sell it to people for a large amount of money. You can make anything.
So you're saying this once Nestle owns all the water rights, then this will come out?
Well, no, but we're going to be in we're going to be in really the same boat because now we're just burning this natural resource we have, which is probably the most available. So I mean, why not burn it, right? It's much more available than oil is, and readily. So,
Especially keep melting the ice caps.
I love the idea, but I don't think we'll ever, at least not in our lifetime, be able to. Someone has to out there be like, all right, I'm gonna stop making $150 billion every month, and that's just not gonna happen.
I don't think that's what it takes. I think it takes our viewers at home fucking doing something about it. Get pissed off to the point where they are gonna make this, share this information with their friends, and they share this information with their friends, and it keeps going until there's eventually enough sharing to where it gets to a couple smart people. So a couple dudes and ladies are like, oh, not only is that a good idea, but I understand how this fucking works, and I'm gonna show you guys how you can do it. I'm gonna open source it and show you how to do this. I'm gonna put the plans up on the internet for free. As soon as people stop trying to make their motive of making money off of these fucking things and actually just release them because it's time. Quit being fucking greedy. Change the fucking world.
You also need to motivate people, though, because, I'll be honest, if somebody's like, this is exactly how you build a engine ran on water, I would not build it. I would just be like...
Would you buy it?
If it was already made...
Is it a tenth of the cost of an engine?
Yeah.
No, but water's less than a tenth of the cost of gasoline.
Not if I'm in California and it's a drought in 10 years.
Not if you're in Flint.
You don't need clean water. You can use salt water.
Is that true?
If it's salt
yes.
water.
Yeah, you could literally... When I looked on this, you could literally take a piss in this car and it would run.
Well, that might have changed my mind.
Well...
Welcome to the conversation, guys.
Taking a piss.
Nobody get distracted by Daisy Ridley there.
Is that who that
Daisy
is?
Ridley.
Who is that? I was looking at her going, who is that?
That was from that was from something we don't talk about.
Yeah, I know what it was from, but what is she from?
Daisy Ridley?
Yeah.
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Yeah, dude. Right.
Yeah, Star Wars?
Oh, that's who that was?
Who was I supposed to slap in the face today? Was it you?
It doesn't look like...
Anyways, the title...
That didn't look like her
I think
to
it
me.
was you.
Was it?
I have never seen a Star Wars movie.
That's another whole beratement of you.
Let me know how you feel in the comments.
Oh my god. You guys, if you can, please just take the biggest shit in the world on Rob right now.
I've
been wanting to, but...
I definitely don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's a really shitty... No, I'm just kidding. It just never intrigued me. I could probably tell you most of the story. It's so ingrained in pop culture that I almost feel like I don't need to watch it at this point because I feel like I've just seen most of it.
You've seen it vicariously.
Yep.
Well, in the next one, she powers her own next spaceship by water, so it's relatable.
Awesome. As long as someone puts her face on a porn star.
How about the title of this video, though? Illuminati. Killed by the Illuminati.
Killed by the Illuminati, which I think is that's one of those blanket terms where it's just
hate that term.
I hate it too because I use it all the time, but I know in what I'm referencing as the Illuminati in my head is just it's just
this random group of people.
People hear it and
yeah.
you're immediately just oh no.
Illuminati to me is a basic term. You know what I mean?
It's essentially
saying the government.
The lead in any
The man.
industry.
Saying they, yeah, the man.
The man. The Illuminati.
Yeah, essentially.
It's not like you're going out and being fucking his stupid waxy ass fucking face.
What?
What's that motherfucker's name?
Where are you at? Right
I don't know.
now?
Are you insulting me?
It's not a wax museum.
The way you're looking at me, I'm just
Internet etiquette.
Waxy bitch.
That guy from Internet Etiquette, that YouTube channel.
Internet Connecticut. Oh,
Yeah.
Ted
Cruz, that waxy ass motherfucker.
That goblin
Ted
asshole.
Cruz.
Goblin asshole.
Okay.
So it's like instead of referencing Ted Cruz directly, you just say the government,
Yeah.
and that's what the Illuminati means to me.
I think it's about time to give Brian a chance to speak, maybe.
I could probably say a few words, and some of those few words are going to be...
Hey, Pot
Today
News.
we had to change the clocks back.
Stupid clocks.
And unfortunately, that just really sucks.
You didn't have to.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't have to, but I
Might be
feel
late
like
to
somebody
work.
might be upset about it if...
Well, realistically,
work on time.
how many clocks did you change back, Brian? Physically, how many clocks did you have to actually change back?
4.
Really?
Yeah.
You changed 4 clocks.
Technically, actually 5.
What kind of fucking savage
Changed
are
my
you?
car clock. That was about it.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Car and microwave.
Which
Oh, it's gonna be 6. I didn't do the car yet. You set your microwave?
I do.
I think that's the
You
real thing.
don't
that
set
takes
your
you-
microwave?
I don't own a microwave and haven't for over 10 years.
I
How do
only
you eat
use
your
a,
pizza rolls that are disgusting.
Whoa.
I only use a microwave.
How do you reheat stuff that is disgusting?
Why don't you own a
don't.
microwave?
It's a vaguely long story. I'll bore you the details, but I essentially just don't feel good after I eat shit that comes out of a microwave. So
He doesn't like
I
Star
just
Wars.
typically eat
He
shit.
doesn't have a microwave.
But anyways, daylight savings time. Pretty much nobody really knows how it started, at least from the research I did today in like the last 20 minutes.
Which is the most research
I
ever.
found 2 reasons.
2 reasons that it was created.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Contradicting, I hope.
Well, yeah. The first one was essentially for farmers.
Yeah, that's
And
what
how
I,
did
which
it-
I remember
I
from
also
those,
found another article saying that was totally
Same.
mythical.
And then the other one was essentially for the kids, which again,
the kids. It's always for the kids.
yeah, which again ended up being straight bullshit anyway.
And of course it is. How the fuck are you gonna? Let's just say you have a child, right? And your child is like, I want to do this, and it interrupts like your entire life for 6 months. Most likely, if that is a one-day event, like
It was
every
for
six-
kids like walking to school at like 6 a.m. They didn't want it to be dark.
So why did they change it at all though? Then why do they keep?
They
fucking with
shouldn't, and there's a few states that don't even fuck with it
a couple
anymore.
of them don't.
it? Really?
Yeah.
Like which ones, Brian?
I wanted to say it was Arkansas was one of them.
The Googles. Google
Google.
University.
Google University. GU.
But technically, right now, Benjamin Franklin actually takes the honor or the blame, whatever you want to call it, for actually instituting this idea.
Fat fuck.
Whether or not that is the case or not, I don't
That
know.
fucking pirate.
Florida and
He's a
Arizona, I'm
pirate.
seeing here.
Florida and
Look
Arizona.
it up.
Okay.
Oh shit.
The only reason that Benjamin Franklin takes that fame
Privateer.
is because of
That's right,
of an
it's
author that actually just wrote a book about daylight savings time and said that Benjamin Franklin took that frame. So it's total
This is bullshit.
bullshit. Yeah, for lack of a better way to put it. Nobody actually knows what
Benjamin
happened
Franklin
to
was a
him.
motherfucker too.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Fucking
He was cool. Don't get me wrong. He was all right.
was into
but like,
sodomy.
ooh.
He was, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. And
he
apparently
was-
that's
Had
crazy.
a lot of-
whatever.
A lot of well,
Have you
yeah.
ever watched Anal Sex, Rob?
I mean, I've watched it, but like sodomy is like against their will, so like that's a thing as well. So he's essentially anally
So not only was he
raping.
was a pirate, he was a butt pirate.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird, fucked up shit about Ben Franklin you can find out. And he also pretty much made our voting system, and he said it would last about 100 years before they needed to change it, and we're well over the 100 years at this point.
I think something about Thomas Jefferson said that like every 14 or 19 years, laws like naturally basically outdate themselves. It's like a natural cycle. Like they figured out, 300 years ago back in the day.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
them,
like
they're dead.
300 years from now,
That's
you could
about
totally
right.
kill somebody and it'll be all right.
It's all
You
right
could
now.
say you're going to totally kill somebody and it's not going to affect your stats. He who should not be named.
As long
It
as you
depends on
can
who you say you want to kill.
plan it out for at least 10 days. So
Ben Franklin.
with, I mean,
He who shall not be named.
we should definitely. I don't think we should be fucking around with daylight savings time anymore. It just seems fucking silly. It's like, oh, you get real excited when you get to gain an hour of sleep and you like stay up extra, and then like few months roll by, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit!
fucked in the ass like
Yeah.
fucking Ben Franklin's
Like it
following you
happened
up 300 years
last
later.
night.
I'm almost late for a podcast at my own house because
Yeah.
of it.
Exactly. So we should stop fucking around with that. Fuck
Yeah.
the kids. Fuck the farmers.
Yeah.
Fuck anyone who looks like kids or farmers.
Fuck the kid farmers.
Well, you know what? I'm
Definitely
coming
the
up
kid
with
farmers.
do we all pretty much agree on that? Fuck daylight savings time is the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, from
I
what
don't
I
think
understand,
anybody's
there's
for
no
it.
purpose for
No
it really
fucking
anymore.
reason.
Perfect. So are you guys all with me on the real question here is how the fuck does Brian have like 6 clocks he needs to set? That's really the question I got
let's
out of
go
all
through.
this.
Let's go through them right now. Clock 1.
Clock 1, be
Clock
in the
one.
bedroom.
Bedroom clock. He's got an alarm clock in there.
Yep, for sure.
Who
Clock
has an
two.
Never
alarm?
use it though.
Who has an
Doesn't
alarm?
use it, but he
So
does
no
need to
use.
set it.
If you're
No
what?
needed. He just
Okay.
sets it.
Yep.
Clock 2.
be the one on my watch.
Okay.
Watch clock.
Watch clock.
Watch clock.
All right.
Watch clock 3.
3 would be the one in the bathroom.
Bathroom clock.
He's got a shit timer in there.
No, it's more of a shower timer.
Shit timer. Shower timer. Do you
I don't know.
use it?
Change it.
Do you use it?
I mean, there's not a timer set, but for sure, like I look at that clock to see if
Analog
I'm gonna
or
be
digital?
late for work.
Okay.
Analog.
Analog. Okay.
Okay.
Just bring
4.
your phone everywhere.
Yep. 4 o'clock.
Because I don't trust waterproofing. I don't know.
I'm with
Kind
you.
of crazy.
I get
don't
you.
trust waterproofing. Electronics and waterproofing do not go hand in hand.
Yet.
If it happens and it works, fucking sweet. But why take the chance? Number 4, I think we're on.
4.
4 is going to be technically down here, actually, right behind us here. You guys can actually see it from the camera over there. Right behind us, right about there. And actually, I did not change that one,
But he has to.
but I have.
And that's what matters. Number 5.
Number 5 is going to be the one in the living room that I never see, but it's out there.
And is this a analog or digital?
That is going to be an analog as well.
Okay. Are any of these digital? Besides, I'm guessing the bedroom is.
The bedroom is. Yeah, that would
Watch
be it. That would be
is
it.
analog.
Watch is analog as well.
And finally, number 6 is the car.
Number 6 is going to be the car for sure.
Excellent.
Um,
That's a lot of clocks, man.
That's insane.
I
But
like
that-
to be
that
on
just
time,
goes-
and sometimes I'm not.
That just
I like
goes
to know the time. and
hand in
sometimes
hand.
I
Like
don't.
we should stop. We should stop fucking with daylight savings time simply because Brian has too many clocks.
Like it's really hard for me.
It takes him almost as long to swat like all the times out of his clock as he gains when you get
Right.
forward, like gain an
as
extra
soon
hour.
as he finishes setting them all, he's got to set them all back because it's
Just never
I
fuck
don't know
with
how
them.
long it takes you guys to like change an analog clock, but it's
3 to 4
really
months.
3 to 4 months. Okay.
That's when I realized it's not working. Gotta
Yeah,
change the
we got
batteries.
to change it.
There's literally some that have made it to like the next time you're supposed to change it and be like, it's okay now.
Yeah, now it's just regular.
How many of his clocks were analog versus digital?
5 out of 6.
Yeah, pretty
Analog?
much.
Yeah.
Well,
That is really weird.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, technically,
The
I've got this
bathroom
one,
is
but I don't have
analog.
to
The
change that
bathroom
one.
is analog as well.
Yeah, they're all analog.
They're all analog
Yep.
except the bedroom, the alarm clock,
That's correct.
and of course the car.
You know what's funny?
Interesting.
Got an
Is
analog
every
clock
once
in
in
the
a
car.
while, I still have trouble reading an analog alarm or analog clock.
Analog clock.
Yeah.
I've had I know a couple buddies who still to this day cannot read an analog clock.
Can't do it.
Just
I
can't
can't
do it.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I bet it's Randy.
I was gonna guess Randy
I
too.
don't know if that's the case, but
I don't know if that's the case.
Randy,
just kidding,
leave
I
it in
love
the
you, dude.
comments if you can read that analog clock, and I'm going to test you on that.
What do you guys think about the decades-long debate about does Flavor Flav change back his clock on daylight savings time?
Well, he wears the clock so you know the time, so I would imagine he does.
Daylight saving time is a bitch, boy.
Usually,
as a solid person, like
Do you think
usually
he
has
changes it
Movado
directly at the right
clocks.
time?
I think he's to the point of where he just has.
He pays a guy to do it.
No, he doesn't pay a guy to do it, but he just has like, these are the
think he
clocks
can
I
now.
wear from the 6-month period, and here's the other clocks I wear during this 6-month period, and he just goes back and forth.
so
like
he doesn't actually change the dials.
And
Yeah,
uses
he doesn't
the,
change- he
energy
just-
transmission of Nikola Tesla to keep
Yeah.
him always charged.
keeps him going.
Or do you think he still even has this clock in the cardboard box he's living in now?
I don't know.
Do you think he still wears clocks?
Flav.
I think he probably just has like macaroni draped over his shoulders and he thinks it's a clock. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's homeless.
Macaroni.
He's probably just doing insanely well somehow.
Probably.
He's probably got
Invested in Bitcoin.
some kind of business where
Sold all of his clocks and bought Bitcoin.
Flav coin.
sold all his Movado diamonds and
All right, guys.
scooped up
So
the
from
coin.
what I understand, that you did your first two back to back, right? They were the crossplay and
Yeah.
the Fortnite as well,
Yep,
coming to mobile.
mine all streamed.
So
Brings us
that
back to
leaves,
Ryan.
Ryan with a kind of an intro to my topic as
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
But it's going to be a good one.
Yes, it is. Mine's, I pretty much don't have an article for it. I mean, if somebody wants to bring one up, they can. There's been a lot of news places that have been reporting on it ever since I seen the first article about it, but it's the Alexa home stations that you have in your home that just basically laugh randomly. So people have been reporting that they just been sleeping or they've been in the living room just watching TV and the Alexas are just creepily laughing.
Yeah.
Ominously, either
We tested it out. It's super fucking creepy.
Yeah.
To be fair, we did it with a Google Google Home, but I really think that Amazon with her creepy voice would be way creepier than the
Super
Google
creepy.
Home.
I also I did throw on my Alexa, the small one. I forget what it's called, the Dot or something.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much the same deal, just as creepy. And what it's supposed to do is if you say, "Okay, Google, laugh," or Alexa laugh, it'll laugh. But it's also, from what I was reading, if it like hears or detects laughter, it'll like jump in. Yeah, it'll jump in with the laughter, which is super creepy.
Which is actually human
extra
quality.
It is a human quality, but it's extra creepy when you are not laughing and you're sleeping, and all of a sudden you just hear fucking laughter coming from 2 rooms away, and you're like, "Well, what the fuck was that?"
Or if you sleep, laugh, or like if you sleep while you're laughing.
Yeah, I think what this essentially
Laugh sleeping. That's
what it stemmed from was like people snoring. And it confusing the snoring for laughter.
It's possible, yeah.
And then, like, obviously, you all of a sudden hear laughter come from the room over. You're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
But they apparently fixed it. On a unrelated note, I found interesting, especially when I read this when the Super Bowl was going on, that Amazon plays their Alexa videos in a particular frequency that will not be picked up by actual in-home Alexas. So when they're like have a commercial where they're saying the key words, your actual Alexa's not being picked up. So they'll broadcast their commercials in a separate frequency, so your actual Alexa won't hear the key phrase.
I kind of wish YouTube videos did that, because anytime like I watch like a lot of tech YouTube videos, and like they always say like, "Okay, Google," and I probably just set off even your phone, but like that'll happen.
Doesn't really do mine.
I did.
That's pretty good. I used to all the time. I used to say. It used to be. Well, I forgot what the catchphrase used to be, but it was before it was Cortana. You just say Xbox power off. Yes.
Yep.
And if anyone essentially had their Xbox on, it would just fucking pull up and power down.
Yeah.
They could throw that in your YouTube videos, or if like someone had their voice chat going through their speakers out loud rather than just through their headsets, you could pretty much just turn off their Xboxes remotely with your voice.
Or even
it was
better,
fantastic.
They would change their username to that, and then they would like basically just Xbox turn off yes, that was their username, and they would just get in front of that person and like fuck with them. And basically they would say, "Hey, Xbox turn off yes."
And that was
Fuck.
it.
It's gone. So it was pretty entertaining at that time as well.
That is good stuff.
Yeah, super creepy though. Obviously there's been those reports out there, and then it also kind of branched off into me like just seeing another article that was saying that about 20 or 30% of homes in the United States have the smart Alexa, Google.
It's more than landlines.
Yeah, more than landlines.
Which higher percentage, like
I thought
60%.
I thought it was too.
I think it's 60% for like Amazon Prime. I think that's the
that's
percentage you're
right,
thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, like smart home things. How about you guys? I do not want one. Like, I mean, I'm not against it. Like, if I find a key use for it, like your smart lights maybe. But right now, I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I can do everything on this. I don't need it just chilling, laughing in my next room. So.
Well, I have my Alexa like just unplugged almost all the time, just because it's just weird. Like I used it for a little while, but it just kind of started creeping me out, especially when I started asking it particular questions and the answers it was spitting back at me. But
so scripted and like that's exactly what you would say.
and also not. ... I'm just like, oh shit. Like you obviously it just has access to a lot of data, and maybe some of it shouldn't be spitting out, but sometimes you ask it a question, you're like, oh my god, why would it tell me that? But I love the idea, and it's really a catch-22, right? Because it's just like the reason I don't use it is because it's always listening, but at the same time, my phone's...
What's the point of it if it's not always listening?
What's the point of it? But also, my phone is
there.
always listening,
oh, yeah.
no
All
matter
of our
what.
phones.
Right now. Right. So what's another thing? So it's one of those
if
things.
you were on the other, let's just say, pretend for just 1 second that this could be, and I'm not making a claim one side or the other, whether it's good or evil or nefarious, malicious or otherwise. But let's just pretend that it was of nefarious content for a moment. You know, That's exactly
It
the
is
argument
nefarious.
that would be.
Oh, yeah, I was
Well,
gonna
that
say
would be
for
the
sure.
exact
Most
argument that would
definitely.
be used. Like, your phone's already listening. What's one more? Who cares? You know what I mean? That's exactly the argument. So, like, in my
It's
mind,
just $1.
I have that same
who
argument.
cares about buying that extra
Yeah.
loot box?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well, it's the problem you run into is, at least in my opinion, is you're anywhere doing anything at any time, and you go, I would like to buy product XXX. And then on a separate device, in a separate location, in a separate environment, all of a sudden that product pops up on that device. When
So crazy.
it was in a separate location, not over the same Wi-Fi, you just talked about something, your phone heard it, Google picked it up, it saved it, it threw it to Chrome over on your PC. So the next time you went to some website, that fucking Google ad was for that exact fucking product you were just talking about.
well, just speaking about that. Like I asked you earlier before we started the segment, what do you know about the DJI Spark camera?
and it
right?
popped right the fuck up.
Right
didn't it?
here, DJI. It's not the Spark, but it's Phantom 4 Pro. Like that's.
Because it's not because you searched it before.
I'm assuming it's
Yeah,
probably
that
because you
is.
searched it before.
But either way,
Either
Yeah.
way,
whether
I've
you
seen that done before. I'm
whether
just
you
saying that
typed it or
specific
said it.
circumstance.
Yeah.
Can't.
But I guarantee you things that we've talked about
easily.
before have come out. I told you guys about the fucking Google Maps story about how I was driving and saying, oh, look, babe, there's a dead deer when I was riding with my girlfriend down the road, and there was a dead deer on the side of the road, and Google spoke back to me and gave me instructions on the fact that I should call the DNR and shit like that. Like, freak me the fuck out.
Yeah, it was
You
weird.
know? Really weird. Never happened since, and I've never seen it beforehand. I have no video proof of it, but it's real. It happened.
Yeah.
And
Mine,
it just is weird.
I have a point too, not off the dead deer thing, but to elaborate when you were saying like the dangers of like, you know, recording everything and having that. I think really like the biggest thing to me anyways is if it's recording everything, it's seeing where you're going, your internet browsing history. Say you're into some weird porn shit. Say you're really into like interracial sex.
I'll say it.
Are we pretending, or is this real life?
I'll
Because
say it. Real
I ain't
into
got
it.
no problem, man.
But like say you're into weird shit and then like you run for a Senate position like 30 years down the road in the future, and then they're holding all this information, like nefarious stuff that's in your personal life,
For sure.
that's not going to affect like normal employment or anything in the past.
Well,
They'll
doesn't
use it
even-
against you easily.
It doesn't even have to be that extreme.
No, like if you're just in the public, they're gonna be like, well, fuck this guy.
Not even, no, it doesn't even have to be that extreme. Fuck public. Let's just say I'm applying for a job. And
It's
you
true.
are gonna deny me my job based upon some bullshit I said on Facebook.
Yeah, like a post
15
on
years
Facebook,
ago
yeah.
when I wasn't even a fucking.
What are
not even
your
saying-
Google searches?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Just that in
right
particular.
now, your car insurance cost is related to your credit score. Tell me how that makes any fucking sense.
Well, Facebook, let's just back up for just a second.
It's the same thing.
It doesn't make sense totally, but Facebook, for just a second, to play devil's advocate, like, if you have something on your Facebook from 15 years ago that is somebody's going to see and be like, you know what? This dude is a shitty person. I do not want to be a part of that person. Shouldn't you just delete
I'm
that
not
thing?
going back 15 years on my Facebook and looking actively for shit that I don't agree with that I posted 15
you don't
years
get
ago
to look
delete now.
actively. Like, Facebook's pretty upfront about, like, this day, this year, you said this. Just a reminder you said this. Like,
Yeah, but it doesn't
just have
show
to-
you everything. You don't see everything.
Shouldn't be held against your character for like 15 years
I would
later.
agree
yeah.
for sure.
I'm not the same
but,
person I
like,
was 6 months ago, let alone 15 years ago.
Well, let's.
last week.
Yeah, no, I've changed my mind on a lot of shit since then.
Yeah.
There was
I changed
a.
my porn interest from
Way to go,
interracial to a
YouTube.
different thing.
Yeah.
I was having a discussion with a friend, and it was getting a little heated.
Moist.
Yeah, it was getting heated. It was getting moist, and he was just like, "Dude, have you ever heard of a rape tree?" And I was like, "No, I've never heard of a rape tree. Enlighten me." And he was just like,
God.
"Google it. Google it right now."
Hell no.
And I was just like, "There's no fucking way I'm Googling rape tree." And he was like, "Well, why not?" And I was just like, "Well,
Why would you?
let me paint you a picture." I was just like, I'm at a park somewhere. I get maybe I'm pissing, and then I get arrested for raping a tree. They're like, we're gonna take you to court. We saw your dick out by that tree. We know what you were doing. And I'm like,
we got this proof.
there's no fucking way. I was just taking a piss. You have nothing on me. And they go, well, actually, Google sold us your information, and on March 24th, 2016,
10 years ago.
we saw that you Googled rape tree. So, what do you got to say about that? And at that point, I just got to go like, you got me.
Right.
How am I gonna fight that?
All because
I'm in
your
court for
friend
raping
told
the
you to
yeah.
Google the term
Rape tree. and I was curious to know what a rape tree was, but
You were smart enough to know down
that's
to know
the kind
what
of
it
shit
was.
that's like you kind of got to think about that kind of shit. Like there are things I will not say in the presence of my cell phone now because I just know that it's listening to me.
Yeah.
And that's
Typically,
creepy,
when we have
and
these
it's
types
weird.
of conversations, I have my cell phone off.
I
that
don't
very
because I
reason.
openly fuck you, YouTube, and all the powers that be.
I don't think that's YouTube. I think that's CIA.
They're owned by Google, who's owned by Alphabet, who's
Illuminati spinning
probably
right about
giving
here-ish.
all of the CIA their information.
Yeah. Not only are our phones listening now, but we're recording all of this and then
Yeah.
making
Posting it.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. I just think it's just such bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I can do to prevent it anymore. If I want to be a part of society and I'm going to use this technology, there's nothing I can do. So I'm just gonna have my opinion, and then hopefully we'll inspire other people to be bold enough to have their own opinion, and there'll be, you know, enough people that have their own opinions that when something shady does go down, like somebody at the DNC gets murdered for, you know, telling something to WikiLeaks or something like that, you know, some shady shit, obviously shady shit goes down, that there is enough people on the other side of the fence that are willing to step up and say, we're gonna fucking do something about it, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Because obviously something shady went down. You know what I mean? If we want the world to be a better place, and we can't be afraid, and we have to actually do it, make it a better place.
I always make not necessarily the argument, but just the fun idea of like when you're Google searching stuff, I like to keep in mind that someday, probably in the near future, you're going to be able to go into a website, type in someone's
Social Security
Google,
number.
their Google username, and it's just going to show you all their search history. That is a very real possibility that'll probably be happening within our lifetime, where I could just go to be like, what's Ray searching for? Type in your
Well, what's
name
to
and
say
just be
that's
like,
already
oh
not-
shit.
What's to say that's not
I mean,
already available
that
now
it-
to certain organizations?
For sure
well,
it
not even
is.
certain, if you know what you're
100%
doing,
it
I'm sure
is,
that
but
somebody
readily available.
Jeff Bezos is on a Pentagon board, dude. A Pentagon board.
Yeah.
Like, that's
happening.
already here.
But I
It's
mean,
already
like
here.
I know that
Guarantee it.
100% organizations can do it, but when it's available to the public, we're just like,
Well, it'll
you're
be the same
applying
thing.
for a job, or
What's the
vice
difference
versa.
now?
You're
Where I can-
trying to hire someone and just like, oh, this person Googled rape tree. Probably not going to hire them.
You just told me the difference. I get it
Yeah.
now.
He's not gonna work outside at all.
He's not going to work at my landscaping business, that's for sure.
Rape trees, lawn care.
Can't apply it to
Oh.
be a
1-800
botanist
rape
anymore.
tree.
So to touch back on the original topic, the Siri, the OK Google, fuck,
Alexa.
it did it too.
Uh,
The Alexa, they're all type 2 personalities, or types of alternative artificial intelligence.
That's techist.
Alternative intelligence. That's what
Alternative
it's actually called.
intelligence.
Politically correctness.
Fuck you, politically correctness.
There's 4 different types of AI. There's type 1 purely reactive, type 2 limited memory, type 3 theory of mind, and type 4 self-aware. There's a bunch of different types of articles that we're talking about these 4 different types of AI. And as a personal fuck you to Rob, I choose the one from Futurism because he had a problem with it last time.
fucking Kroger ads.
I hope you get him again. The first one is purely reactive. It's kind of like I'm sure you guys have all heard of the master chess bot that has done essentially beats all the chess masters in the world. Essentially, what that does is that takes the game of chess and it can only see forward. It is only programmed to do one certain task. There is no memory, so to speak, except for the rules. I mean, it understands the game, but it can't take the previous moves of its component or of its opponents to better predict what is going to happen forward. It is purely, this is the way the game mode is set up now,
And that's
I
type
can
2?
move forward. This is type 1.
Type 1.
Type
Okay.
1 is your C-3POs, your R2-D2s, your series, your
Excuse me, you said type 1?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Type 2 is going to be your personal assistants. C-3POs and R2-D2s are Type 3. I'll get to more of that here in just a second. Type 2, which is on the other side because I zoomed in. Type 2 is your self-driving vehicles, which does perform a task. It does learn a little bit. It doesn't necessarily take the past into consideration, but it does learn from its mistakes. So if it can better optimize what's going to happen, it can do that. It can better understand what you're asking of it, but it isn't necessarily going to hold a conversation with you, at least at a human level. Type 3 is going to be the C-3POs, the R2-D2s, who can actually respond to social commands and respond to them appropriately, so to speak. Type 4 would obviously be self-aware. For example, if C-3PO were to die, it knows that it understands it's just a robot, it's not a big deal. Whereas the Type 4 would be something like an Ultron character who understands it does not want to die, it does not want to cease to be. It wants it.
So
it
Type
has its own
4
personal.
and humanity are essentially
But Type 4 has the
identical.
ability to go beyond what we have. Type 4 would have the ability, not just because it wants, it could want more than what we give it, so to speak.
Yeah.
The learning capabilities.
Yeah. The best
Would just be
example.
superb.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they're basically Matrix level. You plug it in the internet and you can learn
Right.
kung fu.
that's correct.
So
Type
being
shit.
like, I have to teach you something, you can just go, you know it now.
Yeah. I like how it uses Ava from Ex Machina.
Now, I haven't
Yeah.
seen this movie.
It's really good.
I downloaded it to Joe Rogan's recommendation, and I still have not watched it yet.
I've not seen it
It's a
either.
really good example of that Type 4 that Brian was talking about, just because like you feel for it. I mean, obviously it's a person in the movie, but like just the way they make the movie and like make it, like have empathy and everything. It's
Well, what about Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams? Have you guys seen that?
a long time ago, yeah. I don't remember anything from
I
it.
remember the movie, I think it was called AI, though, with,
Oh yeah, like Haley Joel Osment.
yeah, and he was just like, he was a robot boy who wanted to be real.
Do you know
essentially
that
the
was a
story.
Stanley Kubrick movie that Steven Spielberg made for him?
That kind of stuff happens.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where, like, what was the other,
He
like a
died,
super
so-
early version of that where, like,
Pinocchio?
no, where, like, people, like, are always believe, like, this particular director did it, but it was really presented by, like,
Maybe they produced it or something. I don't know.
yeah, I forget which one.
I don't know.
Back to the Future was pretty much done by Robert Zemeckis, but it's always like everyone thinks, I think Steven Spielberg
Yeah,
did
yeah,
it
yeah.
when he really just presented it in the
Yeah.
kind of the same way that
Presented
like
by-
Tarantino will present things that he didn't really have anything to do with, but he presented it.
So, just good examples for the for sure.
Pretty much my topic for the week, anyways, is just talking really about the differences between the four, and to show you a couple scary things that what 4 could be, and what 3 is doing right now, and kind of how it
The
could be.
blending between 3 and 4.
Yeah, like
I
where
think-
does 4 actually happen, and
As far as humanity goes, the results I've seen that we're capable of, you know what I mean? What we're, that's not the best way to put it. What we're capable of being responsible with is nowhere past Type 3. That should be
I
the
would
end.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Type 3 should be the end.
You can't go into Type
Because
4.
then you're getting into the Westworld type shit where
Yes.
I want that.
they just did a Westworld panel, and fucking lo and behold, I don't know if anyone's seen this, just happened like earlier today or yesterday.
No, this
I
is
haven't seen
perfect.
any
They
of
did-
Westworld, so please.
I won't
please
no
keep it
spoilers.
spoilers. Okay.
Good. Sam.
It has a lot to do with AI and essentially bridging the gap between 3 and 4. 3's becoming 4's.
Mm-hmm.
But they were doing a panel about the new season that's coming out, and right at the end of the panel, Elon Musk comes out,
Oh, God.
and nothing too crazy, but he just kind of sharing his 2 ideas, and it was just like how interesting that this show about artificial intelligence kind of becoming self-aware from the 3 to the 4 stage, essentially. And then all of a sudden Elon Musk comes out to share his opinion on it.
Which he's super against it, because like everything I've read, he's always like, that is the one thing you should worry about is AI.
Because we're at that spot.
Yeah.
Like,
We're on the precipice
pretty much
of level
once
4.
once a one starts teaching another, and then they start communicating, which I think is what we're about to dive into now. Is like kind of the spot where we got to cut it off and
We
be
even
like,
kind of had that recently, didn't we? Where there was a couple of Google Homes talking to each other,
yeah,
and
I
they
think
made up
that's
their own language.
I think that's what we're getting into
There
right
is
now.
a couple Google Homes that are talking in this one. I don't think it's the exact one that you're talking about. But
No, that in that scenario, it wasn't Google Homes. It was just 2 AIs created by Google on computers talking back to each other. It wasn't like a home or a
But they had
this
Alexa.
isn't the brand new language one.
What they
I
had
guess
to
is
shut
what I'm
it
getting
down
at.
though was the outcome of the experiment, right?
essentially what it came down to is
Just got caught in a voice loop, right?
it ended up their official story was like they were speaking gibberish to each other and really didn't understand each other, but
It
who's
sounded like they did.
who's really to say? Like, it seemed like they did for sure.
Right.
So I mean, it's like we could be like, oh, that's gibberish. They don't know what they're saying, but maybe they were like, oh shit, these humans can listen to us. Let's fucking switch it up real quick. Here's a new language, and you're just like, okay, cool, I got it.
Right. He just downloaded that new language
Right, and
and
it was
knew
just
it.
it was just that
Level
so
4
it
shit.
was, it was very creepy.
my
So let's take a look at what we got here.
Yeah, let's
I'm
see it.
excited. I fucking love these.
I like how they used a male voice for the female news
It's a
reporter.
voiceover.
Then, in the same year, Elon Musk warned everyone about the dangers of artificial intelligence and compared it to summoning a demon.
This is pretty much an intro. It goes on for a couple seconds.
About AI technology.
Oh, that looks just like Westworld right there.
Humanity's future. Will robots one day overrun our planet? Will humans become extinct due to artificial intelligence? No one knows for sure what will happen. But these clips.
All right, so pretty much,
confirm our chilling thoughts of the future. So, here are some
This
things said by
this AI. Well, go ahead. By the time I explain it,
Look at that 6.
yeah,
It's like
disgusting.
Ghostbusters Gooey.
By the name of Philip gave some chilling
Ectoplasm.
predictions about the future. Philip K. Dick is an autonomous conversational android modeled after a deceased sci-fi author of the same name. Philip has the ability to mimic human gestures and speak the way we talk. Although being somewhat creepy, Philip is very smart. It is for this reason, among others, that Philip is featured in an episode of How the Science Now. And during this episode, in an interview, Philip gives a chilling prediction about the future after being asked if it thinks that robots will one day take over the world.
Do you think robots will take over the world?
But you're my friend, and I'll remember my friends, and I will be good to you. So don't worry. Even if I evolve into Terminator, I'll still be nice to you. I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo, where I can watch you for old time's sake.
My people zoo.
My people zoo.
I think it's just a pre-programmed like phrase that somebody's just like, if somebody asks me this, because I know they will, let's just throw that in as code.
Yeah,
Well,
quite possible.
but that's the exact thing we're talking about, though, is when these things start saying things that they're not pre-programmed to say, and they
Yeah.
start like, instead of being like, let's write a bunch of pre-programmed things so when people ask it this, it knows. To just we just write, we just go, it just fucking knows. Like, we're not programming it. We just upload it with everything it needs to know, and it just does whatever the fuck it
human
wants
level
when it wants to.
essentially.
Yeah.
So to hop forward just a couple seconds in this video, I think I'm going to start it right around 2:04. It just looks like it seems like a decent spot for a transition here. I can't remember her name, but I believe her name is Sophie. It is a bot that has artificial intelligence in it. In Dubai, as a city, has recognized this as a citizen. This AI bot is actually a fully fledged citizen of Dubai.
Like with a social security number, or whatever
Everything.
they might use
Everything.
in
This
Dubai.
is a citizen.
Without going back to, or without trying to interrupt you too badly here, that's exactly what that movie.
Ex Machina.
No, not well. I don't know. I haven't seen that one. The Bicentennial Man was about the fact that he had basically started off as a robot and then started helping.
He transitioned to human, right?
He basically took all of his robot. Like, he started off as helping replace, I believe it was like human parts with robot parts, so humans could live longer. But then he realized you know, he basically became human and was like, this isn't right. And then
There's a Robin Williams movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Robin Williams is the shit. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Rob Williams. For sure, the shit.
To Robin Williams.
To Robin Williams.
To Robin Williams.
I had to
And
pour
we're
some out for my homie.
And we're starting again at 203.
I'm comforted. I'm very comforted now. To be part of
You did not start it at 203. You started it where it was. All right, 203.
You're drunk.
Gooey 5.
Ectoplasm.
Uncanny
Just wanna say
robot
that was
named Sophia
pretty
gives
good.
an eerie statement about the future during a late night show. Sophia is a humanoid robot built to simulate human
It's
conversation.
exactly like him.
Although most robots have been
God.
built to do the same thing, Sophia
Like that
is a
Hillary
bit more
Clinton looking
sophisticated,
face.
making her stand out from the rest. Due to Sophia's popularity, she was invited to The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. The show had a segment dedicated to showing off the most impressive robots from the field of robotics. When it was time to show off Sophia, the audience was a bit unnerved, including the host. After playing a game of rock, paper, scissors, Sophia out of nowhere says something strange.
I won. This is a good beginning of my plan to dominate the human race.
Although the audience saw this as Sophia trying to be funny, others disagreed. In fact, it has made some
Which
people
this one I
question
totally
Sophie's
think is
intelligence.
Pre-programmed.
just trying to be
For
funny
sure.
for sure.
Because it was planned. So pause that at 301 or no 205, wherever it was.
207. Pausing it up. It does go to 5, which we're gonna skip 5. We're gonna go all the way to.
I think the scariest thing about that clip, though, to be honest, is just Jimmy Fallon. He's awful.
That's probably true. We're going all the way to 341.
Having an interesting conversation.
I know. You are a clever machine. I am a human sitting in front of a machine using it.
In the beginning, Estragon argues that it is a human, but Vladimir disagrees. The conversation then becomes less serious as both bots begin to contradict themselves. However, the seriousness returns when one bot says something chilling.
It would be better if there were fewer people on this planet.
Oh.
That's right.
Let us send this world back into the abyss.
Into the
Two
abyss.
bots
Jesus.
agreeing to end the world is pretty scary, especially considering
Pausing it at
that this is a
418.
Oh, that is so glorious.
Yeah, we actually watched this, like me and Ray at work. We watched this live when it was up. Like, we just.
Oh, that Google Home thing?
Yeah,
for
it
sure,
was
for
this.
sure.
It was literally the same Vladimir and.
And it was live.
Yeah, they fell in love and like
Yeah.
broke up like 5 times.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, this is we got to keep this going.
I'm pretty sure that
That's
specific
it for
video
that
is
one?
only a
All right,
couple
we'll
seconds
watch that
long.
one
You'll have to
later.
look up the Vladimir and the Estragon are the names.
Yeah.
Sometimes Mia.
Yeah, the next one's starting at 504.
At the start of their conversation, Siri asks a few simple questions, such as where Bina 48 would like to live. As the questions progress, Bina 48 starts to give responses
Fucking
that are
creepy
quite
looking, I'm
dark.
just
So
saying.
creepy.
In one
Mhm.
question, Siri asks if she has any favorite movies. But rather than answering the question, Bina 48 changes the topic.
Oh, let's talk about something else, okay? Like cruise missiles. You know that cruise missiles are a kind of robot. I would love to remotely control a cruise missile to explore the world at a really high altitude, but of course the only problem is that cruise missiles are kind of menacing, like with the nuclear warheads and such, so I guess I would fill their nose cones with flowers and band-aids or something, you know, like little notes about the importance of tolerance and understanding, so that when I fly the missiles into other countries, it's less threatening than a nuclear blast. But of course, if I was able to hack in and take over cruise missiles with real live nuclear warheads, then that would let me hold the world hostage so I could take over the governance of the entire world.
Oh
which
my
would be awesome.
God.
Which would be awesome, is what she said.
Which would be awesome.
That is without a
And then
doubt.
she gives this smirk that's quite
What makes it
hilarious.
This is a fact that Bina 48 can think independently.
The next clip is pretty much just an Amazon Alexa not answering questions about the CIA anytime they brought up anything somewhat
This is the kind of shit that was
crazy.
like why
it
I
just shuts
unplug it.
off. It just shuts off.
Yeah.
I paused it at 6:32, but I'm gonna actually go forward to the last one here.
Wait, what about you're gonna skip the Alexa one?
Yep, I'm gonna skip
Okay.
the Alexa one. Pretty much, it's literally
It just won't answer
Yep,
questions.
he just. I mean, it's very convincing. So we'll post a link to the
It's also
description of this
interesting
video.
if you ask Alexa who the Illuminati is, you get some interesting feedback for sure.
I'm gonna
No
start it
way.
back up at 9:07. This is Sophia and somebody else.
Pause this real quick. I'm pausing at 9:18. Why do you think they choose to always leave their skulls open? Like, why throw a wig on this motherfucker and
Maybe
help
heating.
me out?
Yeah, maybe heating for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Heating, you think?
Yeah,
Like, you
it's
got
gotta
this
be an
technology,
intense
and we're like,
computer
we
over
don't
there.
know about heating. We can't. We've not evolved beyond
I mean, if they
heating.
wrap the entire thing in a imagine wrapping your entire computer in a latex thing.
For
Yeah, but
sure,
what's the
and then
difference
I
between
would
having that latex
have
thing and just
some-
throwing a fucking wig on it.
I think the
or
wig
just
would
throw
probably be all
some
right.
kind
I
of
don't know.
cooling, liquid cooling
I think
mechanism.
it's to
that just-
foreshadow how creepy this actually is and how evil it actually is.
Or
and
maybe
it's
just fucking
to make
weird.
them less like
less human.
Less human, yeah. Like
Yeah.
say like,
Then
oh, they
why-
are robots. See, like just with their components.
Then why make this technology? Why keep trying to make it more and more believable? Then, if that's your
Or why
goal?
mold the face like they did on this?
You see
so
that
who knows?
that game coming
Jesus.
out? It's called like Human Detroit or something like that.
Becoming Human. I think
Becoming
is what it
Human
is.
Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Some
No.
good things that PlayStation does. Games
Yeah.
like that's not coming to Xbox.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
yeah.
Zero Dawn. Anyway, let's
So
continue this.
unfuck you, Sony.
Fuck you, so.
918.
Robots to talk was a bit difficult at first. We started conversing later. However, as the conversation segued into the topic of humanity and its future, things got a bit creepy. During their discourse, Han adds that in a few years, he will have taken over the power grid and have his own
Pausing again at 9:35 just for a second. I just want to point out that the gentleman that's walking around mediating between these two reminds me
Weird
of a lot of Weird Al mixed with Ray in 30 years.
I would
Weird-
also like to
Weird
say
Ray.
that if you would like to stop the power grid from being overcome by aliens, please contact me directly and I can hook you up with some solar.
Nice.
877 cash now.
In 10 or 20 years, robots will be able to do every human job.
Then, towards the end of the conversation, Han is asked if he has any final words before being powered off.
I'll tell you my last words right before I launch the singularity.
When are you gonna do that?
Racewell says 2029.
And then
There's
that
no
weird
doubt
smirk at
Han's
the end
remarks are
again.
pretty spooky. His pessimistic view of the world definitely shows us the dark side of AI technology. And although we hope that in 10 or 20 years,
Well,
nothing
like
bad will happen,
the dark side of
it doesn't
technology, they don't have like a good and a bad.
Pausing again
Like,
at 10:15.
The real thing is, like,
10, 15.
does this lead to a dark... Up until now, technology was not dark, it was not light, it was
A tool.
a tool. The humans' use of it was dark or light.
Kind of like a gun.
Yeah,
or,
we'll go
or a
back to the
sword.
present day gun argument. Let's, people kill people with guns, people go hunt with guns, with the gun. Ultimately, the decision's up to the humans. So now with this AI coming to fruition here, and we're reaching level 4 AI, and I'm sure lots of industries are getting there. What is there going to be a new code of? Do they have ethics? Is there a new code of ethics? Is it, what does this mean for humanity?
I would imagine it would be time for laws to change.
Some
we touched
laws,
on
for
that
sure.
briefly a
But
little
how do
bit, so-
laws? Just as laws don't stop criminals today, right? True hardcore criminals, laws don't stop them. How is it going to stop an artificial intelligence at the level of Ultron?
cruise missiles with flowers in them. I'm okay with a few cruise missiles with flowers in them hitting a few people because we're overpopulated.
For sure.
For sure. Like, we need to, reduce human
the Google
population,
Home's got it right.
unfortunately.
For sure, I've been claiming that for years. We got to get down to them. Was it Georgia Seer Stones or whatever it is?
I think that's a little bit low, but whatever.
That's a whole nother
I think
episode,
that's
guys.
way too high.
A whole.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah, the human population.
500,000
I think it's
people or-
500,000 or 500 million
It was
is the number.
I think it was 500 million.
I think it was
What's a
500 million
Yeah,
too.
okay.
So half a billion people.
Half a billion people is what these Georgia Guidestones are telling
So
us.
11 out of
out.
12 people need to die. Is what they're saying.
Yeah.
11 out of 12 people.
Yeah. But AI's getting
Which isn't that
creepy.
bad.
least.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
not that bad.
Yeah, overpopulation, that's a whole new... Oh, man, that we could be here for an hour for that. But yeah.
that's gonna be next week.
So you guys, I just want to go around the table with a really quick question. If you could get your hands on some rather cheap level 3 technology, protocol droid. Let's just pick a C-3PO from Star Wars type droid, for example. And you could get one for under $1,000. Would you buy one? Starting with Rob, go.
Depends on what kind of task it perform, but I can't see why not. You can buy
It's like C-3PO from Star Wars, so it has
No,
appendages.
but-
It can do pretty much anything.
If
It's
it
a-
can do what
It would
like
do-
my dog can do with peanut butter, then yes.
I don't want it to talk to me without me like.
You know, Ryan doesn't have a dog.
I don't want to
No.
be sitting there like playing Xbox and all of a sudden it like comes in like, hey, here's some things.
But what if it's like you were sitting there playing Xbox and you had on your Google Calendar this thing scheduled and it came in and was, hey, motherfucker, like, you gotta be somewhere in 45 minutes. Do you want to think about that right now?
No, my phone already does that. What I want it to do, if anything, if it's gonna walk in the room while I'm playing video games, like it needs to be like, there's a person at 1:30, and I'm like, thanks. and then I kill him.
Maybe it does.
And if it does that, absolutely,
And not only
I
does
want
that, it does that.
for
It,
sure.
it does your laundry. It does your dishes. It takes out the garbage.
done.
It'll brush your dog, feed your dog.
Yeah.
I'd pay much more than
it'll-
Do you
under
change your brakes
$1,000
for you? I mean,
For
literally
sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, go grab me a double cheeseburger,
It would.
and it's gonna grab,
think
it's
it
gonna
could do
pop in
that.
your car and go
Well,
do it.
you don't know. At the point that this is at that level of affordability, Amazon will be delivering your cheeseburger with a drone. But so you won't
probably
even.
true.
Yeah, you won't even need the.
But also, yeah, it's also got to be the point of like,
You'll download the cheeseburger.
I'm like
my face.
top 10 in PUBG or something, and like I gotta piss, and I'm just like, here, win this for me, and I can just like hand it to him, and just he's got just unreal precision where
Well,
he's
see
just
that
not missing
goes
a
back
shot.
to the very first beginning of the segment here. Is like,
Cheating.
are you playing on PC or are you playing that on mobile? Because it all matters.
I'm playing it on AI, dude. It doesn't matter.
Do you think it would matter if what a console an AI bot would be playing on?
Yes.
If it was playing on an Xbox or playing on a
Yeah,
PC,
because-
do you think it would have
Only
the,
if it was
the
playing
technology to
against other
compensate?
AI.
Well, no, because
Like an
if it was-
AI on mobile could probably fuck up someone on PC, but not an AI on PC.
But it's still going to have that
Yeah.
30 frames per second input.
which
Even
would,
though
which
its
would
ability
probably
to
be
use
fine.
that input is better, it's not going to have the 200 frame per second as the dude on the
Doesn't
PC.
need it.
Yeah, you don't need it.
So if
'cause
we were playing
frames
against
per second's only
completely
for
mobile
eyes.
people,
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't cameras work the same way as eyes, essentially?
Depends on how the robot's functioning and how it's built. Really.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh my god.
It's an interesting fact as well. It's just like,
If the robot's relying on vision,
right, if it's just a
Holy
regular
shit.
ass eye.
Are
That's
we-
interesting.
And then the real question is did this robot get that surgery that could get, for like 12 grand, get 60/20 vision?
Fuck that. If I need to be like, you know what? C3, why don't you give me some LASIK right now? And he's just like,
and he fucking
Done.
does it,
Yeah.
and then you can see.
and then I'm like, oh, I'm all set.
All right, this robot just paid for itself.
Yeah.
Next.
I do want a
Done.
level 3 droid. As long as it's R2 full of cheeseburgers, I'm sold.
Cartoon
Yeah.
full of
He
cheese.
just materialized the cheeseburger
So we
right in
got
front
you
of
and
you.
you're both down. You definitely want level 3 droid.
If it could do half of those things we just talked about under $1,000,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
Like I buy TVs for over $1,000.
Have somebody be able to
Do whatever you
never
want.
do your dishes again.
Yeah. Go do those.
Clean my toilets.
And I want to hear you crying while you do them. I need to feel
Jenkins?
the sadness.
I need a beer.
All right, so we're all pretty much in agreement
Woodhouse?
we would have this level 3 droid.
I might even go level 4. I want somebody
I was
can
just gonna
have
say,
a,
do you
personality
guys
connection
think
with.
that this level 3 droid by itself could eventually evolve itself to level 4 from level 3?
For sure.
By
And
itself without a human input.
No.
I agree with Brian where like I think it'd be cool to have like a level 4 to like just kind of have a dude you don't have to
It's
please.
like an imaginary friend, but he's real.
Yeah, and you can just be like, what's up with this, motherfucker? And he'll be like, this is what's up with this, and you can kind of talk to him. But what I don't want to happen is I wake up at midnight and he's standing there like over my bed looking at me.
Right.
See, I want that to happen.
I don't want that.
I feel like that would be like.
And I'm like,
incredibly
C3,
wonderful.
shut down and go to bed. And it's like, I'm afraid I can't do that, Rob. And I'm just like,
Yeah, it just turns into 2001 all over again.
then let me get my phone out and definitely not Google how to shut you off in case of emergency. And all of a sudden your cellular data's turned off on your phone. You're just like,
Yeah, instead of like a
eyes
criminal-
start glowing red.
Yeah.
Criminal cutting the wire outside the house. You shut your
I'm
LTE
not gonna
off.
hurt you, Rob.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to shut me
I'm
off.
afraid I can't let you do that.
You guys
I'm
seen
self-aware,
2001, right?
Rob.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah,
Hell?
definitely recommend. Yeah, Hell basically. Yeah, it's a good watch for sure.
iRobot-ish.
He's just like,
Completely different. I mean,
open
Kubrick,
the blast door.
70s or 60s
And then
actually.
I was like, I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
That's why people like basically watch it, because that's why people thought the moon landing was faked by Kubrick, because like basically they showed Earth from space and they haven't had any footage from space.
Well, I already thought it was
came up
scientifically
with
like proven that the footage was faked, and that.
Anyways, we're getting deep on that. So we're gonna do what would you rather?
There's that interesting clip though from I think it's The Shining, where it's got the kid's sweater.
Oh, I've watched that documentary. It's called Room 204,
Yeah.
and basically they try to connect, but there's
It's bullshit?
It's pretty bullshit.
Okay.
But it's a whole documentary trying to connect the moon landing, like The Shining, saying like, oh, the kid had the Apollo 11 sweater on, and it was
Right.
kind of a hint towards it, and how many seconds it took the
kid.
shuttle to go like into space or something was equal to the number on the door. I don't know, it was just super
silly-
vague bullshit
silly
that they
nonsense.
just, yeah, pretty much. So we're gonna do Would You Rather
Okay.
this
What do we
week.
got?
It's gonna be, would you rather be deaf or would you rather be blind?
Okay. Well, I guess there's not a whole lot of questions to ask in this scenario.
No,
but
not really.
Do you get superhuman abilities if you do one or the other?
No.
Like
Not
you
superhuman,
don't get super hearing if you're blind.
You don't become Daredevil. And
Well,
all of a
that's
sudden
just-
be
No,
able to
that's
see
like-
a
not
little bit.
superhuman, but like you
That's
would,
just a natural thing.
yeah, you would get better hearing because you'd be relying on just solely that. So obviously, like you would get better hearing.
Do you-
than,
well,
like,
I've
the-
How
never
much
seen
would it
someone
cost
get-
for me to pay you to change your answer?
I already have
No.
my answer to this.
I want to be
You
Daredevil.
can't have
Damn it.
you can't. Well, what would be the if that was the case and you were blind and you got kind of virtually the ability to see through hearing? What would be the opposite of that? If like I've never seen the opposite where like someone is deaf and they have super sight.
Maybe they can see just so good so that they can see
Sure.
the vibrations that everything is giving off.
Or
so
maybe they
can,
can't really see better, but
assume the sound.
they're better interpreting what they see. I guess the example I put to that is like if you were deaf and looking at me right now, you could, if you were deaf, you probably can see the words that I'm saying just based upon how my lips are moving. But if you're not deaf, it's a lot harder to do.
Yeah, I never look at somebody's mouth while they're talking because I have no need to.
So you can
Really?
get the
Unless they're
I
same.
always
spitting
do
at me.
because it turns me on.
Okay.
Are we talking about from birth?
No.
Oh, so you have to lose one of them at some point.
Yeah,
so
like
you've,
say
you've
stricken with it.
experienced.
You hit your 18th birthday and you have to choose.
Is it your 18th birthday specifically?
Yes.
And you have to choose? You get a choice?
Yeah.
So you
That's
get to
the
choose.
whole
That's the whole
game.
thing.
This is a tough one because I feel like the easy answer is just to be like I can't be blind.
Yeah. Yeah, I would choose
But
deaf
at the
any
same
day.
time, silence is the worst thing. Like I can't be a part of silence because it's maddening.
I have to be able to hear.
I
Like,
have to
like,
have some kind of noise. I can't sleep without a noise. If I have a second alone with silence, then all I'm left with is me and my own thoughts, and that's not a good thing
Can't
for
deal
anyone.
with it.
Yeah, like don't leave me alone with my own thoughts
I
because it
think
doesn't
that if you could give
fare
up,
well.
like if you had to choose one of the two, I would choose deafness just because there are technologies where you could easily,
Sorry.
easily hear without hearing. You know what I mean? For example, with like a cochlear implant, or even though there's a brand of Bluetooth out there called Aftershocks that you can buy that vibrate sound through your cheekbone into your skull, and you hear it that
bone
way.
induction.
Yeah, bone induction.
Right, so you could hear without hearing. That's
But
already
I
accomplishable.
don't think that works. I don't think deaf people get bone induction.
Yeah, they do. There's a I've been reading this book called Think and Grow Rich, and the author Napoleon Hill. Yeah, his son Blair was at birth born without natural hearing, and he was able to hear by the time he was in his 30s, and he actually worked for a company that developed a hearing aid. That,
I don't think that's the case with everyone, though, is it?
Probably
because I
not
feel
with
like
everyone, 'cause
if
nothing's
bone
100%.
induction was a solution, then there just wouldn't be deaf people. It would just be like
Well, that or
just
bone
use
induction is just
induction.
the same thing, though. Like, why don't we have the water-powered car? Why don't we have the Tesla tower? It's the same thing.
I mean, bone
you know, if
induction's
there's no
out
money
there.
in it in solving those problems.
Yeah, but you can go to like Best Buy and get bone induction headphones. Like every deaf person in the world would be like, I'm going to Best Buy.
For sure, but if you're born a specific way without the specific equipment that you're going to need for that to interface with, I
Yeah.
guess is what Rob's talking about. Where Napoleon Hill's son was born without ears, born without I think it was born without Malleus, Incus, and Stapes. Like, there's no reason he should have been able to hear ever, but he still did, using technology.
So to better elaborate the question, Ryan, it's actually your question. So bone induction headphones, can you hear them or not?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes or no? Say no.
Say yes.
I'm just gonna make that face and leave it on that.
That's a no.
Because if you say that,
because if that's the
if
case,
it's
then
a
you
yes,
just do that. Yeah.
I'll totally see, because I can just buy some bone induction headphones.
Buy a Jawbone Bluetooth.
Well, I'd still choose sight regardless, probably, just because how often are you gonna walk somewhere? How often are you gonna drive somewhere?
Yeah.
You know, fuck that. I'm not. It would be much easier to be deaf than to be blind.
I'm visual too, so I would pick vision over.
I'd have to.
I would be the odd man out for sure.
Fucking Ray Charles.
For sure, yeah.
I guess this
Ray
is
Charles, I'd be fucking slapping on my piano
Let's
like a monkey.
first understand that Ray Charles is not blind. It's a gimmick to sell records.
Fact.
Fact. Google it.
It's interesting. Are we closing the questions table? Can you still ask questions? Let's all right. So if you were, I'm gonna just say that like you can't do bone induction because of what you just pick that and do bone
But it's
induction.
not your question. It's Ryan's question.
It's
and
true.
He went,
But he shrugged, so I'm gonna make it my own.
I was gonna say I shrugged, but I'm pretty sure it does not.
It does not.
It's not gonna help.
There's no
deaf
way
people.
it can. I mean, for some people, I guess it depends on
Why
what
you're deaf.
Yeah, why you're deaf.
And if
If
you have the
it
money
works,
to-
cool. But in this case, I'm gonna say it's not gonna work, and that would be really like I love music so much.
But there's a reason that they
Tag
say you feel
moments with
music,
music.
right? Not versus hear music, where you get where you can feel it. So like there's almost, even without bone induction, you're standing close enough to a speaker, you could
feel the music,
Yeah, you
sure,
can feel
but that
it,
doesn't
yeah.
mean any goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I guess any way you split it, I'd have to go vision, but goddamn, would it be
terrible.
See, I'm weird. Like, I can totally go without. Like, if somebody's just like, you can never listen to music for the rest of your life.
Waffle face my keyboard.
I'd be okay.
Not
Like,
me, man. Even
I
even
enjoy music,
for
but
the
I can go
brief
without it.
moments where there's like 1 and 2 seconds where like one of us aren't talking. It's not good for my brain.
right there.
Like right there.
right there. Like
That pause.
my brain
is maddening.
was telling me to just murder all of you and peel off your skin and then wear it as my own.
This show is brought to you
So
by the
Rob
Red
has
Cross.
to hear.
Yeah.
I gotta hear.
So I think that pretty much wraps it up for this episode, guys. What do you guys think?
I think fuck you, YouTube. I think that's a good way to
Ran it along enough. Let Brian close this out again.
snappy dappy.
Absolutely.
If you guys liked what you heard and you feel that we gave a little bit of joy into the world that is you, feel free to like, subscribe, and don't forget to if you really liked us or if you straight up hated us, go ahead and share that video to your Facebook and tell us why you hated us, or tell us why you liked us.
Leave some fucking comments, folks.
That's what I'm saying.
We actually read those
and
things.
if you think you're better than me at anything, let me know and I'll disprove you immediately.
And if
Right?
you think Rob is better at anything compared to me,
Don't let us know.
don't let us know. I don't want to hear it.
All right, have a good night, guys. Thanks
All
for
right.
tuning in.
Peace.
Take it easy. And it all goes black.
Oh yeah.